All right, so this is my first time doing the pre-show, which is the show before the show, according to Goes. It's MMA Junkie Radio, and we just goof off for like 2-3 minutes before Burt Watson, cancer survivor, starts talking and entering the show properly. To my right is Frank Twinkle Toes Trigg, UFC Hall of Fame member, UFC title contender at one point, former Pride broadcaster, current Rising broadcaster, and of course he is mainly known now as an MMA referee, definitely one of the top MMA referees. Great friend of the show. Keep that applause going. There's so many things to say about Frank Trigg. To my left is Dan Tom, the fight analyst, keeping things together over here on the West Coast. On the East Coast, it's going to be Danny Olkers, our producer extraordinaire. He's the lead singer of the band Automatic 252 or 254? 253, that's right. Automatic 253, Danny Olkers. And Goes is just doing something. I don't know. He's taping Dan Tom.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah?
It's a thing.
Oh, because Dan Tom will not be with us the rest of the week. So Goes is, all right, Goes is getting a little bit prepped on some duties he might have because it'll be a two-man team the rest of the week. We wish Dan Tom well.
Thank you very much.
He's having a surgery. His ego removed? No, he doesn't have too much of an ego. Sometimes he'll take a loss hard, and they'll remind you that he's number one in the standings. But no, he's really chill, really chill. How you doing, Frank Trigg? Yeah, what's going on with Frank Trigg's mic?
His mic is not on at all.
It should be on. It's on here.
The pre-show's supposed to work out these kinks.
You get all the bugs out early.
And we have Frank Trigg. Still nothing.
You do not. We're coming up in a minute.
But your mic works, right?
No, nothing. I'm not hearing anything on his side.
Yeah,
I can't hear Frank Trigg.
All right, you might have to use my mic then.
Okay. Jump on this one. Here we go.
Is there just a quick fix on mic 4 or something?
I don't know.
Everything looked normal at my glance just now. Goes when I looked at it, the light was on, the knobs were in the right place.
Whoa!
It's gonna take some.
Not the voice I wanted to hear. Just also Dan's voices in my ear now. It's not very nice.
You have Dan's in stereo. Too many Dans.
Too many Dans.
We got 20 seconds to go before we start the show, and we'll figure this mic thing out, hopefully. Congratulations, by the way, to the Philadelphia Eagles for winning Super Bowl 52. It was a great game, and they did it with a backup quarterback who wound up being the MVP, Nick Foles. So hats off to them.
What are they going to do?
Burn the town down.
No. What are they going to do now with Wentz?
I don't know. We'll talk about it when the show starts.
Yeah.
This is your captain speaking. We are making our descent into Las Vegas McCarran Airport. On behalf of our crew, we'd like to thank you for flying MMA Junkie Airlines. Now please fasten your seatbelts and put your tray tables in your upright position because the descent is going to be a little bit bumpy.
Alright, Junkie Nation, it's time to roll, baby, on MMA Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Goes. This is what we doing while we do it, baby. All night long, we rollin'! Yes!
The MMA Junkie Radio revolution is upon us.
Can you dig it?
There's no escape. No escape. Through the vast frontier of cyberspace and through a sea of stars in outer space.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We've solidified our combat communication stranglehold.
We are controlling transmission.
With the use of MMA Junkie Radio and SiriusXM satellite radio technology. MMA Junkie Radio. Commence transmission. Live from MMA Junkie Radio HQ in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Go.
From the fight capital of the world, inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Racing Sportsbook, you are listening to the MMA Junkie Radio Show, the only show that matters. I'm your host, Gorgeous George. With me, as always, is the devious and dastardly Goes, Ari's co-host. There he is over there. To my left, Dan Tom, the fight analyst. Back to my right, Frank Trigg, UFC Hall of Famer. What's up, guys? How you doing?
Good. Good.
Yeah. So, are we still knuckleheads, or did that get fixed over to my far right?
I'm still knucklehead for sure, but I don't know what's going on over there.
They're
Trigg had identified the problem. We basically we're trying to turn on a television, and everybody's pressing the remote control buttons, and then we finally figured out that the TV's not even plugged into the wall.
Actually, there's no power. Like there's a blackout. We called customer service. It's like, hey, my computer doesn't work. You have no power. Like, yeah, I know my computer doesn't work. Turn my computer on. That dude doesn't work. So
the ultimate when you lose the connection problem during the fight pay-per-view and you miss the knockout, right? You miss those. Everyone's got those stories, right? Where you miss the class. Like, oh, come on, cut out right.
It's happened to me on Fight Pass, and I was just starting to warm up to whether I should do it live through them because you can get the alternate red and blue corner.
Oh yeah.
And it wasn't on a big fight, but it was on a fight that I had money. So when I have money on them, they're big fights to me, you know. And it happened. And I was like, oh, maybe stick with TV. But they just had that the other day with, or I think it was with the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So it can
happen.
happen.
Like 30, 35 seconds of blackout.
It can happen.
Didn't it happen? Didn't the lights go out at the? In New Orleans?
Oh, yeah.
At one point, like all of a sudden,
that was in the stadium itself.
Yeah, the stadium, the lights are shut off in the middle of the stadium.
That was the 49ers and the Ravens.
Yeah.
They had piggybacking like what's already like a 30-minute halftime. It's supposed to be 15, but Super Bowl gets the extended because of the halftime show, and then they added like another 20 minutes. It was almost an hour.
Yeah. Which it didn't change the game much. I mean, at that point.
Speaking of the halftime show, I don't know if you guys caught it or if that's where you
every single bit of it.
Go do other things, but that Justin Timberlake's taking a beating. I watched it. I wasn't.
Come on, what do you mean he's taking a beating?
Yeah, that it wasn't that good.
Are you crazy? Where did you read that from? Like every single
Yahoo. I was on Yahoo.
Every single person I read about was like, it's the best halftime show it's ever been.
Really?
He's done like 5 things that no one has ever done. Like he pulled.
I like the Prince deal.
No one has ever walked out into the crowd like he did, like up into the actual stands unannounced. He just unprepared. Like his group knew it was happening, but the stadium didn't know it was going to happen. He walks into the crowd. He's out in the middle of the mix. Those dancers usually are part of the crowd. Is usually part of the act kind of thing. He had regular folks out there. Like it was an absolute amazing. It was the best halftime show that has ever been, musically speaking. That entire event, from What's His Nuts from Boys to Men doing American.
I still like Katy Perry and them Two Sharks though.
Yeah, I mean, there's always been great shows.
But the left one was a little bit off. The right one was in tune with what she was doing. The left one was off.
The left was off. Yeah, but I mean, it's. Justin's tuning up for another tour. He's getting ready to go on. Like this is part of his act, and this is what he does in his regular show. If you've never seen him live, you need to go see him live. He's a great entertainer, and it was definitely one of the better shows. And everything I read, it was like one of the best shows, if not the best show, one of the best shows of all time.
Okay.
So I'm surprised to hear that anybody said it was bad.
Well, here it's real loud, and I couldn't hear it well. I was watching more than listening, I guess. And to me, it looked like just another Super Bowl show because I don't have that. I'm not part of like Entertainment Weekly. I don't have an eye for that. You know what I mean? But as I was reading, I was like, oh, he was off. His voice was off. Prince overshadowed him. And
of course,
I don't know what. A bunch of stuff.
So listen to what you're saying. His voice was off. Well, he's one of 10 people ever that do the thing live. Like it's his voice. It's not piped in. It's actually him doing it. He's not.
They also said he was too old. He looked too old or something like that for the crowd or something.
Man, it's fucking Justin Timberlake, man. He got old. He's not 14 anymore. Like, let's be honest here. The he's an adult. So you got to give him a little bit of space. But everything you're saying is like, oh, he's too old because my daughter didn't like him. Like, well, what does that mean? His voice
I'll
is
forward
off.
you the article and you can check it out.
It's on Yahoo. I'll pull it up. Yeah.
Yeah,
I stalk Yahoo for most of my sports stuff.
Right.
That's where I get most of my information.
Goes he with us?
Oh,
yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. I'm gonna do a switcheroo here. So, just because we're sticking with the Super Bowl theme, and I said it right before the show started on the pre-show, the Philadelphia Eagles defeated the New England Patriots 41-33. Congratulations to the Eagles.
Yeah.
Their fans, the city of Philadelphia.
Congratulations
That's your
Rocky.
first Super Bowl ever. They've been to 2 others and came up short, and this one they won with a backup quarterback over Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. So, I mean, can't say anything other than hats off.
You're a football guy. You guys are all football guys. Like, you love the game. You follow the game. What are you going to do now at Wentz? Like, what are you going to do?
That's a great question.
And mind you, he's only the 3rd quarterback that's played in less than 3 games in the regular season to win the Super Bowl. I think Doug Williams was the last one to do it from the Washington Redskins.
And Hostetler did it.
Oh, Hostetler did it. Okay.
Yeah.
So like that. But what do you do now? Like, what do you got? You have a Hall of Fame. You have the MVP of the regular season in Wentz, and now you have the MVP of the Super Bowl and your backup quarterback. And let's not forget, Wentz big brothers him every day in practice. Every day he beats him in every single position. Wentz is that much better than he is, and he gets smashed. Now he's the Super Bowl MVP.
So Wentz tore his knee sometime in November or December. I don't recall. and his injury is like a 9-month injury. So they'll probably need Foles just to start the season. I imagine as long as they keep winning, they may apply the old don't tinker with something that's working or
don't if it ain't broke.
If it ain't broke, yeah.
Obviously, it ain't
They
bad.
may, but if he's back in time, I think Peterson's going to want to. Doug Peterson's going to want to establish right away that this is the guy, this is the future, this is the guy that we're paying a lot of money to. Credit to Foles for winning the title, but this is the way it is, and I think most of Philadelphia would back him up.
Yeah.
I think even Foles would back him up, but I think early on they may have to start with.
We're going to find out what kind of team player.
Well, I can't wait till they ask Foles the question. Because what's he going to say, right? I think that's what
I'm trying to be the starter. I'm a competitor. I'm trying to be the starter, but I also understand it's a team effort, and we got to put the best team forward going through. We can win another Super Bowl.
Controversy starts.
Right. Yeah. Right. Every guy should want to be the starter, even if you're backing up Elway. You should say, "Well, I'm competing in practice."
100%. Aaron Rodgers.
But maybe he gets himself a new contract with another team.
Doubtful. Oh hell.
Maybe
no.
the Eagles can get like a number 1 or a number 2.
Oh yeah. That might work.
But Wentz
I don't see him going
has
anywhere.
to come back from this injury first. So
there's a lot of ifs. There's a lot of ifs we're talking about right now, but still, it's fun.
Now, on the other side of it, are you glad to see the Patriots lose? Like, take that. They've been so successful. Sometimes we just do it out of envy.
A little bit, yeah.
How about you, Trigg? You give a shit?
I chose. I wanted the Eagles to win, but I firmly came out and said, "Look, if the Patriots are going to win. The Patriots are a better team. They're better all around, and they've got a come-from-behind quarterback that no matter what the score is, going into the third quarter, when he it seems to me like Tom Brady now is old. He doesn't warm up until the middle of the third quarter, and he finally gets to that point where he's like, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to play now. I was just kind of screwing around the first half. Now I'm going to play, and that's the way the whole season's gone. He's kind of been like, come to third quarter, he gets in and he jumps up on it, he jams. When he starts, you can't catch him, and he beats everybody up. I thought for sure the Patriots were going to win. I thought it would be another come from behind like they have been the whole playoff season. Another thing of, okay, well, yep, they're down by 14, they're down by 21, they're down by 28. We saw it last year. I was like, okay, it's fine. Like let's not get too crazy. They're going to come back and win again. I thought that's what was going to happen. And I was so happy to see the Eagles win. Not because I hate the Patriots, not because I'm against the Patriots, but because I wanted to see a new team, a new city get another championship. Have somebody else have the ability to go, yeah, we got one in the books now. And it changes the whole look of football now. When a team like the Eagles, who have never won one before, look what happened with the Cubs. The Cubs win one now. All of baseball has changed. Same thing's going to happen now with football. Come this next year.
You don't miss that though.
No.
I miss those jokes. I miss.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's fun. It's fun fodder. Yeah, I mean, it's great late night TV when you're picking on them all the time. But the reality of it is, man, is that the sport itself now has grown because another team from another city that has never won one, that has been in the game, has been competitive before, has finally put one in the books. It's like, okay, now the whole format is going to change. The look of the game is going to change because this other team now is on the books, and these other teams that have been, it's been a while since they've won one. Or these other teams have never won one. I'm like, they did it. Hey, that guy, that coach over there, that was my mentor. I'm your head coach. I can do the exact same thing. Watch, and that's what's going to happen. Do you guys watch 30 for 30?
Yeah.
Okay, so
the two Bills.
Yeah, the two Bills.
I didn't see it yet. Is it good?
Okay, it's amazing, and I really didn't care for either guy as a coach. I really didn't care. When they were playing, and I'm old enough to remember when they both were together, when the controversy and the big deal about it and the whole thing, and really it was just two really close friends. They're really competitive. And then they went different paths, and everyone in the media made a bigger deal about it. And that's what caused the rift, really, is that the media just was like, it's just two guys that are competitive, that are friends, like leave them alone. They're the best frenemies you're ever going to have. But it was really insightful to like how coaches look at each other. And Belichick, obviously, was a student of the game underneath what's Bill's Parcells, and he went on and did great. And this is kind of what's going to happen now with the NFL. Like these other coaches, like I was trained by this guy, I was trained by that CEO, I worked for that president. Now I can do that too.
The offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator from the Patriots are moving on to coach teams.
Yeah,
they're coming off.
Isn't one going to the Bills?
The bearded guy, Patricia, is going to the Lions, I believe.
Okay.
And the offensive coordinator, McDaniel, I think is going to the Colts.
Okay.
Either that or have him reversed, but I think that's the way it's going down. But it's funny because Brady did get him back to 33-32, and it was Patricia, who's being tabbed as a great defensive coordinator, and Belichick, who's Mr. Adjustments guy and also comes from the defensive side. The adjustments should have been made, and yet Philly came right back once again with the backup quarterback and fucking drove and scored. I mean, you got to tip your hat to Philly. Neither defense showed up. Both teams on offense showed up. I mean, Brady had 505 yards, 3 TDs, no interceptions. They didn't punt. and they lost.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they only had one penalty against them. I mean, I have to go back and go, how the fuck did that happen? I guess they were just kicking field goals while the other guys were, or a few more field goals while the other guys got 7.
This comes into question, and I really got into this when we were doing Ryzen over the holidays. When we have this tournament action for fighters, they had to compete, and like 6 days later they had to compete again. It's like, okay, well, what's really happening in between? Well, football, it's worse. You've got a 16-week season, and then you've got playoffs. Well, Wentz is out. Right? So his exhaustion isn't there. Brady played the whole season. I don't care what anybody says. Every game you have micro tears. Every game you're getting injured. Yeah, he had that thing on his thumb, whatever. That's only one thing that you can see. Like everything else in his body is getting wrecked. Every time he gets hit, it's another injury. Did it come down to the fact that one quarterback was way fresher than the other one, but still had the reps in? Because he was, every practice he's still throwing. He had to go out there and get the anxiety of playing a couple of games in the regular season, but didn't have that constant grind. Did that actually make the difference when it was like, oh, yeah, we got to score right now? And he's like, bang, bang, bang. And like, oh, shit, scored again. And he's like, okay, I'm fine, because he doesn't have any micro tear in his shoulder. He doesn't have that fatigue level that everybody else had. And Brady, even though he was great,
Steve Jenham
fell apart. He fell apart. Yeah,
it's a good question, man. I don't know. He had a great season.
Yeah.
Threw for over 5,000 yards. They had home field advantage, so he had 2 weeks to rest in between the regular season and the divisional playoffs. I don't know. The defense could have played obviously better, but you could say that for both sides. He did get that ball batted away from him, but it's not like he was back there for that long. You'd have to say whatever lineman who did a great job protecting him all day just let him down, and the Eagle comes in and bats it away.
Yep.
So they did have the one turnover, but at the same time, Philly had the one turnover where the pass wasn't so bad, but Alshon Jeffries is coming down with one hand, and then there's like
he taps it up.
And then the New England safety,
he's trying to catch it.
Probably would have got yelled at for getting there late because he's on strong side. He gets there late, and he actually falls on an interception. So I don't know.
That's part of the gamble of throwing deep that way too, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Philly, don't burn your city down. I know you want to, but
I don't understand that.
Act like you've been there. Oh, that's right, you haven't. What's that?
Yeah, like why would you? You just won. Let's burn our city. What the? Hold on a second.
The Philly
we just won. Like, why are we burning our city down?
They are fanatics, man.
Shane Victorino put something out on it was either Twitter or Instagram, whatever. I stalk him on, and he was like, "If you don't know the fans, you don't know the city, then you don't understand this. But this is like a really, really big deal for everybody in town." And I think, and then like the next person, it wasn't him, but the next person right after him, whoever else I follow, I don't know who it was like, "Please, Philly, don't burn the city down." Like, I'm in Philadelphia this week. Please don't burn the city down. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Hey, if you're gonna flip a car, maybe not a smart car, maybe an SUV. That could be the rule or something.
Yeah, do something easy. No,
the alcohol gets people.
No, what is it? No hybrids. No hybrids. You can't burn down any hybrids.
Yeah. It's funny because there's a guy that's climbed a pole in downtown Philly, and he's yelling, right? But I'm thinking, why are thousands of others yelling at him? I mean, just because he made it up. What's the fucking big deal that he did? Like, you would think you'd be either drinking or talking to a chick or I don't know. I mean, I just don't know why you'd be paying so much attention to one dude and celebrating that and staring at him. And
all I know is it's unwritten rules. Whoever has the high ground, you have to take your shirt off and do this move where you twirl your shirt around. I don't know why, but that just seems to be the unwritten rule. Like, whoever's the highest ground, like, all right, you know.
It's caveman stuff.
It's always that guy.
It's so weird how we always go back to our lowest common denominator when stuff goes down. Like everyone in that space is smart. Everyone's like super smart, and then you put them together in a mad mob. Like, yeah, take your shirt off. Like, what are you doing in that ball, man? Like,
I will tell you one thing. I was at a Lakers Game 7 when they beat, I think it was the Pistons that year, because they went Celtics-Pistons. And I walked out of the Forum in L.A., and...
Wow, did you just date yourself?
Yeah. As I'm walking out, I'm just chilling, right? And all it took, this is what it took, because there was security there. There were cops there. But it was the Forum Club, right? So we were just there to see if the players are going to come out, or maybe even the stars or whatever. This is where I'll date myself. You know, Diane Lane and was that her name? Diane Lane?
Yeah.
And Jack Nicholson.
Of course, Jack.
Whatever.
And his kid.
So
I took my Walkman off.
So all of a sudden, this limo comes up, right? And everybody's moving for the limo. But all it took was, there wasn't no selfies going on. There wasn't no smartphones going on. It's just one dude talking to another guy. And the limo honks the horn. Hey, And, of course, that guy goes, fuck you. He hits the limo. Hey, what the fuck you doing? And then next thing you know, what the fuck are you doing? Next thing you know, he hits the limo again. Then other people start looking at it like, yo, man, why is he yelling at you? I don't know. Then they start rocking the limo, and then the most amazing thing happened. About 20 people jumped on his limo and just start jumping up and down. And security would pull one guy up, but 2 more would go on.
Savages.
And they're just jumping on the limo, dude. I know the limo driver, regretted it being hard at that point. He just picked the wrong spot, and the honking of the horn does something. It's right. You could be by yourself, and if you come to a corner and someone honks, you may react in a certain way if it's just not your day or if that's just the style of person you are or whatever. But people were jumping at it. And as Sammy the Squid, we were fucking laughing our asses off. We couldn't believe how this took a turn for the worse. I don't know who was going to get in that limo, but they were jumping, and it was springing, dude. And people were trying to jump. And I kid you not, I think we wanted to jump on there. But we just didn't know we'd make it without falling off because there was so many people on there. They didn't flip it. They didn't burn it, but they jumped on it. It was hilarious.
I'm wondering what's the legality of now. I'm fearing for my safety. I have 20 people jumping on my limo. I'm just going to take off. I'm just going to move the car. Like I'm fearing for my safety. I got to get out of here.
Well, there was other people there, and that's the thing. It just started to close. I mean, people were pouring out. It started to close.
I wonder if that's where they got the idea for that limousine in Desperado, where they have the bulletproof windows and the holes, so they can put the weapons out. That's the ride right there.
What happened to Reginald Denny? Right? I mean, he got pulled.
Oh yeah, he got pulled. I was kind of beat.
I'm kind of with you. If it's enough people, I'm done. I'm pulling through.
You're not
pulled out and beat up.
Yeah, you're not getting me out of my car. Not without. Well, I carry, so there's not. I have a concealed permit, so I'm carrying. Like I got one in my car. If I'm illegal to carry it, when I'm legalized to carry it, I carry it. I keep it in the car with me. So if you're trying to pull me out of my car, I'm not going down alone. I might be going down. Like, trust me, the 20, I don't care who you are. 20 people jumping on your limo, you try to get out as that driver, you're getting beat up. Like, there's no way around it. But I'm not going down alone. I'm taking somebody with me, and I'm getting out of this one. Somehow, I might even beat my Heavenly Father tonight, but you're coming down too.
That would have been, it would have went viral, man. If they had camera phones back then,
for
it
sure.
was hilarious. We couldn't believe what we were seeing.
I'm surprised you guys didn't get on. I'm really surprised. Like, I was
we
waiting for the
wanted to,
punchline.
but
Like, there was 20 people with us up there jumping on this thing.
I
like,
mean, there was some straight up G's that were doing this, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this was back in, like, the Crips Bloods day, and you didn't know, like, who was who. But it just, I mean.
You couldn't Crip walk into it?
No, there was no way, man. This was even the
like
days of the days of Skinny G. I mean, there was like a little space. You'd have to like basically broad jump up there. You know what I mean? And how long would you last before you fly off? The guys in the middle were more safe. Plus security, the event staff were trying to pull, but more would jump on, and it was just havoc. Is what it was.
Yeah.
George almost killed a girl in a limo at my school once. Jeez. He picked me up in a limo, and she wanted to see what was going on. I had the window down, and she stuck her head in, and he raised it, and it got caught on her neck, and he started driving off.
Really?
Oh, you were driving?
I don't remember the driving off, though.
You drove off a little bit, before we go, hey, stop. But she was, for a second, she was like,
like that guy that, what the hell movie was that? Vinnie Jones did that to that one guy in, Gone
in 60 Seconds?
No, Snatched.
Oh, he's never seen it.
Yeah, Snatched.
I'm supposed to, right? That's the one I'm supposed to watch.
Yeah, he's got to see it. Yep, yeah.
Brad Pitt's, that's his famous
Guy Ritchie made it?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, guy, and Vinnie Jones grabs this guy's tie and starts driving off, looking for information. The guy's just running down the street. And it's fast. He's doing like 20 miles an hour, and the guy's sprinting next to the car.
To his credit, he tried to watch it, but it was starring Alexis Texas before he realized it was the wrong movie.
That's a tough one to turn off, too. Like, she's pretty good.
I always quote that scene that Frank just said, though, because in the middle of taking the guy, a Madonna song comes on. He goes, "Oh, I love this track." And
he's just going, he says something British, like it's a brilliant track or something. He's like, "Oh my God, this is awesome!" And it's right when Guy was dating Madonna, so it was like it made sense for the movie. It was awesome.
All right, let's shift back to MMA.
No, I don't want to.
UFC Fight Night 125 in Belém, Brazil. Lyoto Machida defeated Eric Anders. Valentina Shevchenko defeated Priscila Cachoeira. Michelle Prasaris defeated Desmond Green, and so on. I mean, there's a few other results there. Controversies with some questionable decisions. Means, versus Moraes. A lot of people aren't feeling that one. Excuse me?
Matchmaking,
yeah. But before we even get, there's really not much on Lyoto and Anders. It was just a boring fight.
It really was. It was 5 rounds of really nothing going on.
I think both guys deserved it, and you have to pick a winner. And so Lyoto got it, but both guys almost deserved to lose. Like, neither guy was really going for it. And what's weird is Anders is the young guy, and Lyoto never really got going with being Lyoto. I know he likes to counter and move and things like that, but just Anders let him do that. He let him do that.
I think we saw a little bit of vintage Lyoto. Time in that knee. He's got that knee back that he was throwing, and some of the leg kicks, the movement, and all that.
Maybe.
But that's not the Lyoto that people love to watch, right?
It's not.
Well, hold on, guys. Like, stop and analyze his fights. When was the last time? When is the Lyoto Machida fight actually exciting?
Yeah.
The Shogun one was.
It's not. They're not exciting. His fights are not exciting at all until he knocks you out. Until he catches you that left hand. I was like, oh, I was the best fighter. Well, no. But up to that point, he's running away the entire time, making you chase. And all of a sudden, he stops running and plants his feet, and you run right into it. And that's what happens. You run to that left, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's so quick. It's not that quick. He just times it so perfectly. We never saw that. He's older. He's slowed down.
All right. In this fight, there was just a little bit more running before he'd get to those exciting times. And
because his age, he's had
right.
a lot of,
that's why I thought Anders would take advantage of that, and he didn't.
No, see, with a guy like Lyoto, and I trained with him, 15, 20 years ago, and I remember like me stopping, going, stop running. Either you want to fight or you don't. And he just literally would run around for the whole round, and I'd throw maybe 90, 95 punches in that round, maybe hit him with one glancing blow. He'd throw 6 punches the entire round, and me chasing him, and it would hit me with every single punch. And there was nothing I could do about it. I saw it coming, would move my head, and he'd still find me. No matter what I was doing with my body, he's still finding me with whatever strike. I'm like, it's so frustrating. So you try to chase him, it's the most boring fight that you'll ever be in, and the most frustrating fight, and that's what he wants. He wants you to chase him. He just can't do that game anymore. It's just not the way he used to. He can't do that game anymore. His fights really aren't that exciting until he catches you. Then you're like, whoa, that's amazing. Look at that timing. Look at that, especially that stupid-ass front kick he caught Couture with in Toronto. You're like, we all saw it coming. Everyone saw it coming. Like, that thing's coming. We know it's coming. When? And then he hits him with it, and you see his teeth fly. Like, whoa. Like, that thing is amazing. That made it exciting. Before that, it was just him.
Yeah. You got to hope you face him at the Pearl, right? On a tough finale, because that cage is 11.
And it was. And it was. That was a 25 foot.
Yeah, it was a small cage.
Yeah. But he still moved. And Anders just didn't take advantage. I don't know. It's like he was deer in the headlights, because there would be times where he'd actually pin him in one of these little crux or whatever, and still, Lyoto would hit him back. And I'm thinking, okay, lack of experience, he'll get to it. He just didn't throw very often. I mean, there was no fight to win for Eric Anders because he didn't have the offensive output. That said, Lyoto, same thing. They could have raised the other guy's arm, and he would have been the one to stare at the replay and go, wow, I could have done more. Both guys could have done more, but they had to pick a winner. Now, we got to take a break. When we come back, I want to discuss Valentina Shevchenko and Priscilla Cachoeira. Valentina Shevchenko got the win, was very dominant, should be next for Nico Montana if they want to give it to her. I'm in. But there's a lot of controversy on the stoppage by Mario Yamasaki. A lot of you want to behead him. When we come back, I'll tell you why I think you're wrong. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on SiriusXM Rush 93. Stay close, and we'll be right back. Frank Trigg in the house.
compassion, common sense. These guys have none of that. You listen to them, so you're no better. I am awesome, though. They are Gorgeous George and Goes.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. SiriusXM NFL Radio is reacting to the big win and breaking down everything you need to know about Super Bowl 52. SiriusXM NFL Radio, channel 88, and on the SiriusXM app. All right, so let's get down to the co-main event of UFC Fight Night 125 with Priscilla Cachoeira and Valentina Shevchenko. Valentina Shevchenko got a rear naked choke in round 2 at 4:25 of the second round. That means they went a little over 9 minutes, and that's not the story because Valentina was impressive, and she really could fight for a title if that's what they want to do. Or I don't know what they're going to do with Nico Montana. She's got an injury, but the story is Mario Yamasaki's stoppage. We talked a little bit about this actually before the show started. I thought these guys were going to maybe resist a little bit more with my take. But I told them, I said, I went out of my way to watch it again. I watched a little bit of the Super Bowl. I want to see the flyover again. I want to see Pink, Justin Timberlake last quarter. And then I go, let me watch this fight just in case, because I know it's going to come up and people want to fry Mario Yamasaki. And I watched it, guys. And look, I realized that those stats, I think it was like 200 to 3 in strikes or whatever, and her dominance and the injuries, subsequent injuries that she has, it doesn't look good for what I'm about to say. But Mario Yamasaki, I thought his position was fine. I thought he communicated with the fighters, especially out of Cachoeira, on what he needed out of her if the fight were to continue. And it seemed like Valentina, in the process of being dominant and very violent, by the way, because the striking looked good, the takedowns were good, the passing was great. You know, the arm and the ground and pound and the subsequent submission. I mean, it was all 10s across the board. It all looked great, but every single time it looked like, yeah, maybe Mario could step in. Cachoeira got her arm out, for example, like when she was in that, the crucifix or whatever. Or she turned to her back when she was getting pummeled from the top. I mean, only with about, I guess, if I had to guess, 325 left, not 425, there was a sequence where Valentina had gotten on top of her and was hitting her, right on the side of the head, where I think Yamasaki, based off everything he had seen to that point, maybe could have just stopped it there. But again, that's when she made her move. And the fight, went on for another minute until there was an actual proper stoppage. Of course, once you get president of the UFC involved and he's vocal, I think everyone else also decides to be a little bit more vocal. And there's more adjectives out there and what they want to say. And I don't know, man. The stoppage was late. Because, again, he could have stopped it a little bit earlier in round 2. But it wasn't – I mean, they want his head. They want his head. They want his head on a platter. They want him removed from the sport. And I don't agree with it.
Well, I'm watching it right now. And oh, wait, this is the Sharkesia video. Okay, no, I was off. Yeah, it basically looked like that to me, okay?
Yeah.
It was just, I want to talk more about the matchmaking. That was just really off. I'm in the middle, I think, in between both of you guys, because I felt like there were moments where it could have been stopped.
Right.
But there were also moments where she did just enough to buy herself a couple more seconds.
Right.
And I think that's what kind of ruined things a little bit. So I can see where people would say, all right, yeah, that there could be a stoppage there, or there should have. But at the same time, I think there was enough evidence to keep it going just a little bit more. It was one of those just bad luck scenarios, I think.
Dan, Tom?
I'm more on the side of ease up on the Yamasaki. I'm with you. There were moments where I wanted it to be stopped, but it's a weird situation where A, you have the matchmaking part of it. B, you have something that I always say that we don't focus enough on is corners throwing towels. To kind of manage those responsibilities. But I guess my more thing of it is something I see, and Trigg can weigh on here, is you'll see refs do it. I don't know if this is the intention. You can weigh in, but I like this because it does two things. It's a fair way to speed up, expedite the solution of a fight while still giving proper communication and warning to both sides of the fighter, where they go, show me something, defend yourself, even if it's like, what we're talking about here, where, okay, well, maybe Yamasaki, there wasn't enough damage being done for Yamasaki to step in. There wasn't that decisive blow that we all have in our head that we need to see, right? Well, sometimes you'll see a ref, do, all right, show me something, even if it's not getting to that point, and you'll see the fighter that's trying to win the fight, they'll start their output, and the other fighter, they'll either A, try to defend themselves, more frequently to get out, or B, I don't want to use the word quit or anything like that, or acceptance. Maybe accept is more of a kind word. They'll kind of accept it, turtle, and then that's where you guys do your job. I didn't see Yamasaki doing too much of that. I was kind of wishing for that because I was just wishing for any excuse to end this fight come the second round. But, I was going to ask Trigg that. Is there any truth to that? Do you guys do that to help expedite the process? And would Yamasaki have been wrong to have done it there?
Well, so it's a tough question to answer.
Mm-hmm.
My mechanical background is from John McCarthy. So everything I do mechanic-wise is John.
Okay.
Even when I come out there and, from the pre-fight, going all the way in the back of the locker room, we have that pre-fight, rules meeting that we have with the individuals. Sometimes it's in a group. Most of the time it's individual. We go to each individual fighter that we have for that evening. All the mechanics are from that style. I was taught you have to communicate with the fighters. Okay? So if you listen to me fight, or listen to me ref, it's like, show me you want to stay in this fight. Show me you want to be here. I need you to get out of this position. Okay, I'm looking to stop the fight. You got to move. I'm going to stop the fight. And I let them know I'm coming in. And that when I get to that point, I am already walking. Once I say, look, I'm looking to stop the fight, I'm already walking to stop the fight. So you got to give me something right then to get out of that position, to show me you want to be there. I had the sound down when I was watching the fights. I don't know what Mario was saying. But it seemed to me every time from his body mechanics and from his positioning, I'm assuming that he is talking to them because the way he squats down, because we all do it. We want to get closer to them. And let's be honest, we're all mic'd up. We all know we're mic'd up, but we try to talk in a fashion that we don't want the whole crowd to hear it. We don't want the people at home to hear what we're saying. We try to just talk to the fighters. We don't care if everybody at home says it, so a lot of times we lean in a little bit to make sure the fighters hear us, and it's not about the microphone or anything. It's just because we want you to hear us, so a lot of times it gets lost in at home. Like, you don't hear it. Even though we are saying things, you're not going to hear it or it sounds mumbled or whatever, right? We're not doing that on purpose. We just don't care. Okay, at least me. I can't say we don't. I just say I don't care. So when I'm telling stuff or saying things to the fighters, I'm assuming Mario was talking to him, and it seemed like every time he was in the position to say something, she moved and got her arm out. She moved and turned over. She moved and started blocking punches. So she was, if, like I said, I didn't have the sound on, if he was doing that in that case, he was fully within the, okay, every time I talk to her, she moves. And I've had fights. I am trying to end this fight. This guy is getting his ass handed to him. It was at the forum for Bellator. This last one of the fights I read. This guy was getting smashed. I'm looking for a way to end this fight, and every time I gave him a command, he moved. I cannot stop the fight. He is still in the fight. You got to give him a chance. You got to let him in there. So his response, like, hey, you got to let fighters fight. Yes, you do have to let fighters fight. She was in a position. Yeah, she was getting dominated. We're not sitting there going, oh, okay, it's 20-1 punches, it's 30-1 punches, oh, it's 41 punches. Okay, let me stop this fight. We don't care about any of that stuff. We're only looking at what's happening right now. I looked at the fight the day after. I went back and watched it. I would have stopped it a minute earlier, but that's because I already know the result of the fight. I already know what was going to happen. So I'm watching this fight, knowing the fight's going to end in the second round. I'm going, oh, well, I would have stopped it a minute earlier. Well, hold on a second. I wasn't there. I wasn't in the cage. I wasn't doing it live. From what I watched on Mario, he did everything perfectly correct. And like I said, no sound. I'm assuming he's talking to her. And every time she got spoken to, she moved. So I'm assuming that everything he did is exactly within the mechanics of the way I was taught. He was doing it correct. So when I was talking about it for his head, I'm like, it's his style. He's always a little bit laid back and a little bit delayed when it comes to the stoppages. That's just how his style is. You have to kind of figure that out when you're, I've already said, you have your opponent and you also have to worry about the ref. Like, which ref do you have in there? It's getting better, obviously, now. But still have to worry about the ref. And when you have Mario, he's going to be coming in there late. You got to keep going. And matchmaking, obviously, 1100, I think it was when it finally.
Minus 1100 was Valentina Shevchenko.
What's this fight for then? Like, it's your number one. It's your
Her
number one
opponent
contender.
Was
man.
facing fighters that were 4-8, 6-10.
Yeah,
but I get it. I understand the hype of it. It's down in Brazil. I get having an 8-0 or whatever record is, fight the number one contender. I get the salesmanship of it. I understand all that. But it's like there's a lot of stuff that went on, and the corners could have stopped at any time by telling the inspector, "Hey, stop this fight." They could have easily told her in between rounds, "Don't get off the stool. Your knee's jacked up." Now we know. Obviously, hindsight, we know. Torn ACL and torn meniscus, or MCL rather. Like, have her stay on a seat, in between rounds. Fight's over, we're done. Let's get her out of this thing. There's a lot of ways for that fight to end, way before the fight actually came to the point to end. And it could have happened in any one of these sequences, but I think Mario did a fine job. And believe me, Mario and I have no love lost between each other. This fool cost me $1 million. Like, let's be very clear. So I'm not defending, some guy that it's Big Joe McCarthy. It's Mike Bell. It's Mike Beltran. I'll defend those guys all day long, no matter what they do. Like, these are my boys. This guy, we don't disagree when we meet each other, but he cost me a lot of money. money, and it's his fault that I'm not a millionaire now. I can directly relate to that one instance when he should have stopped the fight and he didn't. But that's the way it goes. What he did on Saturday night, I'm totally okay with.
So Frank Trigg, the referee, would have stopped it maybe a minute earlier.
But only because I knew the result already. I can't honestly tell you what I have done in that exact moment. I knew that what happened in the fight already when I'm watching the fight.
Frank Trigg, the corner man, would have possibly gone to the commission to have the fight stopped. What about Frank Trigg, the fighter?
Oh, no, keep the fight going. Fighters are stupid. Oh, yeah, keep the fight going. I can't. You've seen me fight. Hey, the doc comes in. Hey, I'll stop this fight if you want me to stop the fight. No, I'm good. I'll keep going. Dude, your nose is on the side of your face. Your eyeball is literally in your ear hole. And you want to continue this fight? Yeah, doc, I still want to fight. Fighters are dumb. We'll continue to fight no matter what. That's why referees are there, fighter safety. That's why your corners are supposed to be better, fighter safety. You're supposed to be there for your fighter and know when your fighter is in deep water. And if you're her corner, and forgive me, I get the names confused. If you're in her corner and you have an 8-0 fighter, but you know she's fighting girls that are 0-4, 6-4, 8-8, and now she's up against this incredible competitor in front of her, and she was game for a little bit, and she bounced up at the end of the first round. When the first round was done, she bounced right back up to her feet and comes walking over and sits down and goes, "Look, check my knee." Her corner's first response is, "Don't worry about your knee." No, hold on, man. You better check the knee. If that's her first thing she says, something wrong with my knee, something wrong with my knee. You better check her knee. And she just got dominated that way. Now we have to have a conversation. Okay, let's pull this fighter out of the fight. But they never had that conversation, and corners don't do that. Why? I don't understand it. They push their fighters to go in and take, and she's tough. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
She was taking a beating and moved. She took a beating and kept shifting, taking a beating and kept going. It looked like when she came out of the first round, the cut would have been bad enough to stop the fight, which I was hoping, okay, it's a domination here. Let's just stop this fight off this cut. Cut wasn't bad at all. Head wound, bleeds a lot. Wiped the blood off. She's right back to go. We talked about it earlier, Paul, and what's the other guy's name? Commentators.
Brandon
and Paul
Fitzgerald and Paul Felder. Yeah.
So Brandon and Paul talked about it. Yeah, she looks fine. She's totally fine coming out of the second round. And she was active and moving and tried, and she was trying. Tough girl.
When she got up after the end of the first round, she popped right back up and went straight to her corner. There wasn't no dizziness or nothing like that. She went straight to her corner. She sat down. She communicated something with the corner, which we now believe was something regarding the knee. But, she wasn't woozy or anything. And I believe it was Brad was in her corner, right? He cleaned her up pretty good so that when she came out, that's why Brandon and Paul just basically said, yeah, okay, we have a fight here. Let's continue it. I would have stopped it. That's a good point that he makes. You don't know when you would have stopped unless you're in there. But I guess to the most of what I can do, which is rewatching it and basing on, the knowledge I have, I think I would have stopped it with about 1 minute to go when he got on top of her. But again, look, it was a late stoppage, but it wasn't what they want to end his career. Dana White says, I hope Mario Yamasaki never steps foot in the octagon again. And whatever Dana says, a lot of media follow. Whatever Dana says, a lot of fans follow.
Remember the last time he did this?
A lot of fighters follow.
Remember the last time he did this?
Steve Mazzagatti?
Yeah, and where's Mazzagatti now?
Yeah.
Reinventing himself as a judge. He cannot ref. No one will hire him to ref. He refs Muay Thai here in Nevada, but he's reinventing himself as a judge because he wants to be part of the sport. He's working very hard at it. You have to give a lot of props to Steve to take his ego out of the way and go, all right, I have to restart at something else. He went back down to the amateur level to relearn how to judge. Same thing's going to happen with Mario. And that's the problem when you have – it is. UFC is the biggest promotion in the world. It's the best promotion. It's what we watch all the time. Bellator obviously is a second, but it's a far second. We don't watch we don't pine after what's going to happen, what's going to happen with this stuff going on. We all follow UFC, and it's unfortunate that the head of the UFC, one, can control who the referees are and say like this guy needs to be out, but two, that he has to say that he wants the referee out, as opposed to the commission's going, hey, let's go ahead and put this guy down. You know what, Frank, you screwed up. Okay, here's what you did wrong. Let's sit you out of the pros for a little while. Do me a favor. Go down and get 20 amateur matches. And we're going to analyze you again after 20 amateur matches. We'll see about bringing you back up again. We're not going to drop you down the ranking during this time, but you need to go back and learn a little bit. Okay, all right. I'm okay with that. I'll go back to Camo or to Camo in California. I'll do my 20. I'll get my 20 bouts in, and I'll report back, and you let me know how I'm doing. And that's very easy. California does that. Foster will have a direct communication with you. He'll let you know, hey, look, man, you screwed up on this fight. Here's what the mistake is. Let's try and fix it. We need you to go down and get me 20 amateur matches. Okay, I'll go down and do 20 amateur matches, and I'll report back. And it's very clean. But when you get to a position where the biggest promotion in the world has to go to your commission and say, hey, I don't want this particular official because he's this bad, the commission should have already, he's already sat down, and here's what we're doing. He's got to do 100, he's got to do 20, he's got to do whatever at the amateur level, and he's going to report back and want to see if he gets any better. But when it's very frustrating when it gets to the point where someone at a promotional level has to come out and say something, and it shouldn't be like that. The commission should be able to regulate the referees and judges on their own. And I know I tout California because it's where I'm pushed, but California is by far and away has the most amount of fights every year out of the states. Has the most amount of fights every year. They've got the best protocol. They come up with all the new rules. Andy Foster's all these new rules for weight cutting and dehydration and all that stuff. But he also will come to before the promotion gets to it. He is on your ass. Look, Trigg, you screwed up. Fix this. Okay, I got to go back down and fix it. And you go back down and you fix it. And if you want to, or you just leave. I'm just like, I'm giving up my license, I'm out. And some guys have done that. They've gone in and done some big shows in California, but like, I can't handle this, man. I got to get out. And just get out of the game altogether. And it is really frustrating when it has to get to that point. But then you get mad at Dana for jumping on an official. Well, he's got to protect his fighters too. He wants to see great fights, great matchmaking. So it's like it's a mixed bag of stuff you have going on out there. But who knows?
Well, let's find out what Brandon from Louisville thinks. Let's get the fan input here. What's up, Brandon?
Hey, gentlemen. How y'all doing today?
Good, and you?
Doing okay. Frank, how's it feel to be the only referee that Dana White hasn't criticized yet?
He's criticized me other ways. a long time ago. We're not. Yeah, it's. Well, he can't criticize me. I've only done 2 bouts for him. So there's nothing to criticize on me yet. I haven't screwed up yet in his promotion.
You did a damn fine job of it.
Thank you.
Had no problems with the fight, no problems with the stoppage, no problems with the matchmaking, really. Hindsight 2020 and everything, she got her ass beat. But if you want to look at it that way, the George Pierre John Fish fight should have never been made. That was a complete mismatch.
George St. Pierre and John Fitch?
Yeah. Are you a bumblebee?
GSP just elected the same thing to Fitch.
Oh, based on the fight itself. Yeah, okay, I get what you're saying. No, but John Fitch had definitely earned his spot. Okay.
Going in records and all that.
Say what?
What?
I just don't understand the comparison. Going in records didn't look any.
No, the records were nothing like. Yeah, the resumes were. Fitch's resume was fine. I think he had won 8 in a row to get to that point. But, but the result of the fight, yeah.
He's getting Brandon's point. Like, he went in there, St. Pierre smashed him, and then just the same thing happened in this fight. So it's like, yeah, that match shouldn't have been. I get him. I get what he's trying to say. And yeah, but next time use a better comparison.
Best I can come up with offhand.
All right, I'll give it to you. All right.
I did a little research because I hadn't never heard of her before, but I looked around and rankings-wise, I like to use Fight Matrix a lot just because it's kind of an RPI. When you don't have a visual comparison, just kind of who they beat, how they fought. She was number 8 in the world, so it didn't seem that far off. And it's a fight. Sometimes you just get your ass beat.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah. All right. All right, buddy. Thank you for the call, Brandon. Good to hear from you.
Sometimes you just get your ass beat.
The minute you guys sign on to fight, I know you guys know you're entering a violent environment. I know sometimes people want to jump in, but every fighter I've ever talked to, whether it's in a gym setting or it's outside this show or on air, off air, whatever, every fighter will want a referee to give them the longest leash possible and deal with whether it's the consequences immediate or later on in life. It doesn't matter. They, at that moment in time in the fight, want to fight as long as possible because they always feel like they're in it.
I'm going to pull back the curtain for you a little bit. Every single time, 100% of the time, I walk in, I do my pre-fight. They always tell me, hey, if I get in trouble, let it go. If I'm in trouble, say what you got to say, but let this fight go. Let this fight go. And to every single one, yep, absolutely, man. I'm gonna let you in. I'm gonna keep you in there. I'm gonna keep you in there. And as soon as I walk out of that locker room, it's gone. We're in the fight, man. If it's time for you to get done, this fight is done. Like, I'm not gonna. Oh no, he told me to take 10 more punches. I'm gonna let him take 10 more punches, man. So don't even bother asking the ref for more time. We're not giving it to you. If our style is the style, and you hear me, like, if it's time to get done, it's time to get done. I don't care what you're thinking and what you're saying. I got real thick skin. I've been booed my entire career. You yelling at me for stopping a fight too early is not going to bother me. I'm okay with it. Like, I'm getting you out of there to go home and take care of your babies. I'm not going to worry about you. Oh, I can take 20 more punches. No, you can't, man. You're out. This fight's over. Be done with this.
You ever had an incident? Well, I say that. We're going to take a quick commercial, but think about maybe an incident where a fighter had some unpleasant things to say. Or yeah. All right, you're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. Stay close. We'll be right back. We got Frank Trigg in the house.
They pat down TSA agents because they don't know where those people have been, and because they can. They are Gorgeous George and Goes, and this is MMA Junkie Radio.
Get the radio channels. Get the radio channel numbers for NBA, NHL, and college basketball games sent directly to your smart device. Go to SiriusXM.com/sportnow. Then click Add to Calendar. You'll even get links to listen directly on the SiriusXM app. That SiriusXM app also houses the MMA Junkie Radio show, commercial-free, and in HD quality. Trigg, what's a fighter ever told you after a fight, where there's just a disagreement in the stoppage?
Sorry, I was texting one of my... SAG changed their thing again. I'm on his board for SAG. I'm on the local board for SAG here in Nevada, and somehow I'm second vice president. It just...
Yeah?
Don't ask, man. But now I got to field all these things, and we got a member on the board that does... I know it's off topic. So we're in the union, and we have to pay dues in the union. It's a union gig, man. This is what we do. He is on the board and goes and does non-union jobs and hires non-union people to do non-union jobs, and they're putting it on me to tell him that he can't be on the board anymore. I'm like... why am I the bad guy? This is not the president's job. So I'm arguing with the secretary. Like, no, the president should do it. Like, I'm not supposed to do it. Well, no, we think it's just right for you to go do it. Like, stop it. So it's just always just constant.
Is it a paid gig?
No, volunteer.
Yeah, then the president should do it.
But we get to, they travel us into different spots, and they travel you into, like New York for the big meetings or LA for the big meetings, like that. But it's nothing great. It's just really because there's a lot of problems, George. There's a lot of problems out there, and I'm just trying to fix my little piece of it. That's all I'm trying to do. Just fix my little area. I'm not worried about everybody else. Don't worry about what's going on over there. I'm just going to worry about what's going on right here. I was just trying to fix my little area. I want more stuff to come here to Nevada. You know, like when
Stunt work?
Yeah, and acting work. Whatever. We need more work here. Like, there's a lot of shows here, but there's not movies and TV and stuff being shot here. It's all Cirque du Soleil and, you know, the pirate show in front of Treasure Island. They're Jason Bourne, or what was the one?
Yeah. Bourne Identity?
Yeah, whatever it was that came here. There was no one that's from here got hired on it. Like, hold on, like, how is this extras got from here?
They shut down the whole thing for that.
I know, shut down the whole strip. I went down to set, like, they brought everybody in from LA. It's like, well, hold on, like, we have a lot of stunt guys here that can do these stunts. They're here. Like, why are you flying people in? It's like, that's one of the reasons why I got on the board, is because we should have more voices here of more stuff coming in. So,
what's the easiest stunt that you could train Goz and I to do?
falling down.
That's it?
Yeah, you could get bump and run. Like, guys running through criminals running through the crowd, bang, 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 push somebody off, you slam into a wall and fall down.
Okay.
I'm not falling down without a tray. I need a tray full of stuff.
It just
goes up. Everything goes everywhere. Yeah. No. I mean, that's dangerous too, because a lot of it's metal and that all falls on you, and you got to watch out how you drop it. There's a whole art to it.
We have finally had an experience with an explosion. One of our visits to visit the military. Sorry, we were about a football field away.
Oh, the
maybe
concussion.
less.
Yeah.
No, maybe less. About football.
Yeah, and they blew up C4, one brick, and we're standing there hunched over, kind of ready. I think we had our camera phones out, and he goes, "Here we go!" Boom! We see Art Davey hits the button, and then we just kind of went, "Oh, what's taking so?" Boom! And then the reaction after the boom is very powerful.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Wow, that was like amazing!" I couldn't imagine being closer than that, what it would be like, and I started asking, where are you, to the point where all of a sudden bodies start flying, and they kind of showed us. But we'll touch on all that when we come back.
I'll show them the videos. Yeah.
We are up against the clock. Second hour coming up. Also, in the middle of the second hour, we'll have Rashad Evans. So stick around. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93.
Hello everybody, this is Tag Radio. I'm Goes. That's George. That's professional fighter Frank Trigg. Max, shut up. That's kind of how it went, right?
Yeah. He goes, what was the Tag Radio intro? And I go, I don't really remember. I go, you do it. That's right. Max, shut up.
Who's at the door?
Frank
man.
Let's do a little cleaning up here. What's the closest you've ever been to an explosion in stunt work?
10 feet.
How much does that rock you?
So
for like a day, a week?
No, nothing.
Really?
So what you had was
like a brick of C4.
You had why the hell are we using a brick of C4?
I don't know. That's what we use. So I'm just going off.
Well, yeah, but it's like
our suggestion.
That's an omnidirectional explosion. So it goes out and it goes up, and it bounces off the ground. So you get smashed you caught the concussion. So more people die from bomb explosions from the concussion of the explosion, not from the actual explosion. Not being like, oh, the fire, the humanity, like none of that. It's from being outside. Like guys will have their flak jackets on, their vests, and they're running through, and then they blow off something next to them at the door next to them, and they get their internal organs get fried because they get hit by the concussion. That's what fries them out. In stunt work, in movie work, television work, it's directional. So it's in case it only goes one way. Like you want to go up, and if it goes out, it's very small out. And there's a lines, and and
that's
these
why
guys,
you can do that scene where you're walking away from an explosion, like it's no big deal with a briefcase.
Yeah, I know it's the dumbest thing ever, but it was in the '80s. It was a huge deal. They're FX guys, like they know exactly what the line is, and there's FX guys you will not work with because they'll tell you, hey, it's 10 feet away, but the explosion is actually going to hit you at 16 feet away. And you're like, well, dude, I don't want to get scrambled. Or they're telling you, don't worry about it. This is the fire line. This is as far as the fire is going to go is right here. You're like, okay, and then you get burned anyway. But there's FX guys, that's their game. And you're like, okay, that's the line. All right, I'm staying 12 feet behind the line.
So they push the limits. Okay.
And people get hurt, But the FX guys, fortunately, I've been working with, they're like, no, this is the line. I ask everybody,
doesn't that hurt like don't people hear about this? Like it's almost your FICO score. Hey, this guy's burning people. He's hurting people.
but it's like there's always it's the same as everybody else in America. It's always somebody else's fault.
Okay,
it's not my fault. Like I told them, it's the other guy's fault. It's they gave me the wrong stuff. There's always going to be an excuse out there, and they can talk their way around it. So I just been really blessed and real lucky that everybody I work with is definitely on.
How long would it take to train us to go down a set of stairs?
I don't know, 20, 30 minutes. Depends on you guys.
Wow.
It depends on you guys. Like that. The thing is, like
that hurts too much.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Is like are you willing to take the risk of you might get hurt? You have to understand. For as much safety there is going on, for much things that are going on out there, like you have to talk to Jay Haran. He's been hand pulled. He's got a vest on with a wire attached to the back of it. It looks like you get hit by a car or hit by a shotgun blast and you get pulled through. Right? He's been pulled through into a box in a bunch of boxes. Right? Well, the guy that was supposed to do it was heavier than he was, so they had the tension set for that guy. They put him on it. He misses the pad, misses the boxes, and lands on the ground on the cement behind, like, bleh! And he's like, and like, dude, you're supposed to play dead. You're supposed to be dead. He's like, and the director comes running over, yelling at him, what the hell? You're supposed to play dead. Like, you ruined the shot. We have to do it again. And the stunt coordinator comes running up, oh my God, and like they're sprinting after him because you can get really hurt. Your head smashes off the concrete. There's a pad that's painted, looks black, looks like the asphalt, completely misses everything, like misses all of it, no protection, smashes on the ground. Get up, do it again. We take the risk every time we do something. We might actually get hurt. That's part of the game. That's why it's so enthralling when you're in there with guys like Paul. Used to be Paul Walker's double, Oakley Lehman. You're talking to Oakley. He's like, yeah, this, that, and the other thing. What are you gonna do? Oh, I gotta do a 100-foot high fall here in about 10 minutes. He's like super calm. You're like, whoa, this guy is like, he's got ice running through his veins. Oh yeah. Jump head first. 100-foot drop, no problem. Okay, get up, do it again. All right, I'll do it again. Like nonchalant. You're like, wow, like these guys are doing stuff that is really dangerous, and they're totally fine with it. There's a shot that you might get hurt. So if you like goes, it might take 5 days to teach goes go down the stairs. Because he's like, nope, it hurts too much. That's the first thing hurts too much. Okay, well, it's not for you then. You need to do something else.
I've fallen downstairs, so is he.
I've been pushed downstairs.
Okay.
One of my first gags in Hawaii Five-0 was going down a flight of stairs.
Oh, no, I'm not as a stuntman, though.
Yeah. I'm in the middle of 7 boys. What do you think happened to me? You got chucked down it. Let's see if you can make the first landing.
He slipped
into the wall. He did what?
I slipped on a downy ball.
Shut up.
Yeah, I had my basket. And I'm just kind of going 1, 2, 1, 2. And I guess on the previous, when I went up, I had the Danny ball fell out, right? So it fell down like on the middle stair, let's say. And so I'm just going do with the basket. Can't see anything. And then I hit one, slip, and then I just boom on my ass all the way down. But I'm going towards this front mirror. Jill's laughing her ass off. She's waiting for me to get fucked up in the story. Did he get a coma? Did he die? So as I'm sliding, I get all the way to the end, and I see it's Goze's condo. I'm renting it from him, and he basically has this big closet which has a mirror. And I'm thinking, I'm going to go into the mirror, and it's going to fall on me, and I'm going to get cut up. So I'm trying to slow down, boom, 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 boom. And luckily, I was able to stop my feet just inches from that thing, dude. Because, I mean, with this kind of weight, I would have crashed into that, and that thing would have came off. So it was a close call. But that said, I didn't get hurt. I guess just, I don't know.
Yeah, just it's the way you fall. You know, the big thing is, like, you watch a friend of mine, Heidi, does a lot of stair falls. She used to double Anna Paquin on is it True Blood? Was that the show?
Yeah.
Vampire. She used to double her.
X-Men too.
Yeah. She doubles her. They have the exact same. She goes downstairs all the time, and she has an amazing way. She's a smaller girl, obviously, but she has an amazing way going downstairs where it looks like she is getting absolutely fucked up. Like 100%, she is going to get wrecked. And girls have it way worse because they're wearing tank tops and bikini shorts and bikinis on, and so there's no place to hide pads. They're just doing it. They're got to go downstairs, and she comes up every single time without a bruise, without a mark, without a scrape. I'm like, I totally thought you smashed your head, blew up your elbows, and it was going to come out with a broken ACL. So no, it's totally fine. That was great. Do you think we can do that again? Oh, yeah, I'll be right back. I'm going to do it again. Like, whoa, like amazing stuff going on these stairs. But there's an art to it. There's a game to it. Like how not to smash your head up, how not to hit your elbows, how not to hit your knees. Like there's a whole little game that gets played with it.
Watch Carlito's Way. Remember when Benny Blanco gets thrown down the stairs? Mm-hmm. You can tell the stuntman's just like, oh, boom, 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 boom. Like, he's doing it properly, you know. It didn't look like how a normal person would go, get fucked up all the way down.
Now
maybe I watched too many cartoons, but I'm waiting to see all these things happen.
Well, no, because Carlito's Way was a while ago. It's like, you know, what changed all the gun tactics for all productions. I don't care if it's a no budget. Nope. John Wick. It changed how gun tactics are done. John Wick has changed how people view guns now on TV. So all of us now, as stunt guys, we all have to do tactical training. Real steel shot, real, like we're like really into shooting. If this is what you want to do, because that's what they want. They want the release and the recheck. And I'm ambidextrous, so I have to shoot with both hands. And it's like this whole game that has to get played. It changed. Carlito's Way, when that was done, that was the style of going down the stairs. Now people go down the stairs. It's completely different. It's more of that, whoa, shit. Like it's a lot more out there and open because we're trying to get it looking more realistic. We're trying to bring you more into the game. When you're seeing it at the movies, like we want you to believe that person really got fucked up going down the stairs. And then the actor has to sell it, obviously. The stunt double does it, and then the actor has to sell it that, oh yeah, like I'm really fucked up going down the stairs, and you believe it. Where like Carlito's Way, you never believe that guy got fucked up. Like, oh no, they're fine. Like you can't sell me. There's no actor in the world. Kevin Spacey couldn't sold me that he got hurt going down those stairs because that guy went down the stairs like, oh, dude, looked like he was doing. I remember he looked like he was doing cartwheels down the stairs. Like, oh,
that's almost like
you could probably sell you some GHB though.
Bruce Willis and I know, big surprise to bring up Die Hard here, but Die Hard when he takes the guy's back and they roll down the stairs and he breaks his neck at the end of the stair.
Yeah.
But it's a little slow. It feels like kind of cartwheely, but I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh man, they're really committing to this roll and rolling and hitting all those edges all the way down. And of course, the sound effects makes the snap that's not really there, but.
Yeah, I mean that's the game, man. That's the game.
Oh,
I want to go through a window. I think that'd be fun.
But it's that candy glass.
Yeah.
No.
It's not candy glass. What is it?
Yeah, you can see it. They use a version of that.
No, they don't.
I learned that about 30 years ago,
and
I thought it had improved. But then you watch it, and you'll freeze it, and you'll see it's that thick glass. Like maybe it's a better version of it, but it's still.
Nope.
It ain't a regular window.
Yeah, it is. 100%. It's a regular window, man. Where do you think these cuts are from? Going through windows, man. That's what they're from. Yeah. I get sliced up all the time. That's 100. Look, man.
Watch.
You want to believe the guy that saw something 30 years ago? Or you want to believe the guy that does it for a living? Which one do you want to go with?
You.
Okay, so it's real glass, man.
Well, so maybe what I watched though, maybe might not have been high production like what you watched.
No.
But like, for example, you know, the Impractical Jokers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's the guy that Q? Remember when he's in the Western scene and he got thrown out? Watch that one and you'll see what that type of glass is. Now, it just may be different level of production.
I have never been on any production from low micro budget, which is like under $200,000, to big budget over $100 million that have used anything but real glass. It's real. It's a real pane of glass. They take the frame out, put in a breakaway frame. They put 4 explosions on the corners. little micro explosions, and just before you hit it, gotta have a great FX guy. Just before you actually hit it, he smashes the button, and it makes the glass spider. So, and so it's all these little chunky pieces. So there's no big piece that's going to drop and kill you. You know what I'm saying? Because we've all seen that in the movies. It goes through that one big pane is still there, and the windows slides down, cuts your cradle. Yeah, and slices your head off. Like, that stuff really happens. You know, if you don't do it correctly, if you don't get that stuff to go through. So you'll see, like, when I go through a window, you see me accelerate through the window. Like, man, like, you do a great job going through that window. Man, I ain't worried about that. I'm worried about the FX guy not hitting the button right, or hitting it just enough for me to get through the window, but not breaking it enough that I'll have this big piece dropping down on top of me. I'm trying to clear the whole window, so I'm trying to get through. But it's a window, man. They don't use candy glass. It's a real window, and we get sliced up all the time.
Low budget?
Yeah. And you go through, and they tell you, like, you hit the ground, and there's EMTs and ambulance guys right around the edge waiting for you to go through. And once you come through, they come running over. Keep your eyes closed. Keep your eyes closed. And they come with a blower, like a desktop keyboard, duster, and they blow your eyes out, and they check, and they're looking at a magnifying glass, making sure, okay, blink your eyes open. They blink, okay, all right, your face is clear. Now, really slowly, we need you to get up. Like, we need you to get out of the glass. Like, really slowly, though. Don't touch yourself, because the habit is to start just trying to brush stuff off, and some of the stuff might be in you. And now you're trying to brush it off. Now you cut your hand again, and you're making it worse in your arm. You get up, and you kind of stand and do like a little shake and get all the glass off you, and they kind of check I always bleed in my arms the way I go through. It's always my forearms, because I'm worried about hitting the mirror and having that mirror fall on me. I'm always like this, so I come through. Even if I go through, coming through, I get shot, and I go through. I'm coming through like this, and as soon as I clear the glass, my arms come right here, and then so everything comes back on top of me. So they check your spots where you usually get cut or any exposed parts, and they take they come and physically undress you right after it, and all that stuff's off you, and they okay, good, back to work. Let's go. Let's do it again. All right, new wardrobe. Put it back on. Do it again. Put the window back up, and we just do it all over again if they need to.
What about getting lit on fire? How bad is that?
Well,
you recently had that, right?
It's been about 8 months, 9 months at a full body burn. It's my second full body burn. Yeah, I get fried up all the time, and so when I first started doing it, I was like, oh yeah, you got like with all this stuff on, all the gel, like, oh yeah, we got like a minute and a half, right, guys? Like, yeah, nah, man. Like, you're brand new. Come over here, little boy. Let me show you something. You're like, okay, let's go do this. You got like 10 seconds, 15 seconds. You really have like 25 or 30 seconds before you get fried up. But they want to put you out really. They want to get you down and out really early. There's some that you have to really, like, you see these guys like, oh, stumbling and stomping, running through, like they get explosion and they're on fire, walking down the street, whatever. They'll, as soon as, like, right when the camera shifts to the other angle, when they're filming it, that guy has hit the ground, and the guys are coming over with big NASCAR fire extinguishers and dousing you out with it. But you got like 10, 15 seconds. It's pretty intense, though, because all that stuff's all over you. You're like, trying not to breathe. You can't breathe it in. You burn your lungs. You have to hold your breath the whole time. You got to be careful when you roll over. Like, when I do it, usually I'm in, like, short sleeves. So it's like my arms are exposed, everything's exposed. There's stuff on them. Like, I'm still covered. Don't think I'm...
Can't open your eyes, obviously.
Oh, you have stuff all over my face. Like, I'm completely protected. You have to keep your eyes, like, you kind of blink. And you got to know fire is always going up. It's always going to look for up. So you're on the ground rolling around, all the fire is going up. So I turn and follow my face, it's all going up. So you know that. So like if you're like, oh, my face is getting hot, or my eyes, it's too close to my eyes, you start getting nervous, roll over. And it goes the other way. And then they come, and then you have signals like, hey, I'm too hot, like fucking put me out.
What's like a signal?
Usually it's just a hand slap. You start slapping. Oh. Just like tapping out. You do a big hand motion. Because you're supposed to scream and yell and act like you're on fire. And they're like, they don't want any yelling to be the signal because you're trying to sell that you're on fire, right? So then they have to have a hand signal like, oh, fucking put me down. Like, you got to get me out. You got to get me out. For me, because I have a full back tattoo and part of the ink has metal in it, my back, even after I'm out, my back keeps heating up. So I feel like I'm still on fire even though I'm out. It's like they have to then they know that. Like I tell the guys, look, I have iron in my back tattoo. So once you put me out, I need you to grab as much of my clothing as you can and pull it off my skin. And that will cool my skin down. I'm like, okay, so just reach down and grab it and pull it up. No, thank you. All right, we're good. Let's go. That's it. Yeah. It takes like 35 minutes to get dressed. You have so much shit you got to put on. So much gel has to go on. It takes forever.
Pays well?
Yeah, fireburns pay really well.
Yeah. What about your whole stunt career?
Yeah, good. Yeah. So for me, it was financial. When I jump into stunts, I could have fought. I was 39. I still could have fought another 2-3 years, but I wasn't making any money. The money was coming in for everybody else, but I was past my prime. And so for me now, I'm like, gee, why am I doing this? For an 8-week training camp, I can make way more money than I ever would coming home and make. If I won, by the time you pay everybody off and pay all that stuff off, I was coming home with like 10 grand. I'm like, I can make way more than that in the same time frame working stunts. I was going to do stunts. And for me, it was an easy transition. And then, of course, acting, obviously pays about the same depending on the role and the gig and all that stuff. But yeah, it's just a financial game for me. That's why I made the jump. There was no money in fighting for me anymore.
You never really officially retired, huh?
No, I just stopped fighting. I never understood that. Like, why do you have to? And I don't know why boxers do it. I don't understand why. Like, I get it. Like, if Pacquiao retires, he has a clause from Nike that he gets like $1 million or something when he retires as a buyout from Nike or whatever it is. You know, a lot of fighters have that. You know, I'm like, those guys got to retire because that's their retirement clause that they have. Mo Green, when he retired he was the fastest man, you know, before Usain Bolt. He's like the fastest guy around. And when he retired, Adidas gave him a bunch of money when he retired because that's part of his contract. But even know those contracts, why do you? I didn't have any contracts, didn't have any sponsors, didn't have anything. I was like, okay, I'm just done fighting. I just made a switch. I never had.
Did you know you were done fighting after your last fight, or did it take a few weeks or a few months, or when did you know? Yep, that's it right there. I won't take another fight.
When I got my first paycheck from Hawaii 5-0.
Oh.
I was like, I fell on a flight of stairs. I made this amount of money to fall on a flight of stairs. I got to hang out with Scotty Conn and Alco Laughlin all day. I got to eat great food, and because I'm in the union, so then you get the better craft services truck. I'm like, this is like I had a great time on set. Like everybody was great, everyone was nice. I had great conversations, learned a lot of new stuff, had a great time talking stories, and then I get paid all this money to fall on a flight of stairs. Like crap, I'm in. Like sign me up for this full time. And Jay Hiram was already doing it. He was trying to tell me to get into it. Yeah. And he's like, you got to get in this. You got to get into this, man. Like this is the future for us. Like this is our next game. I'm like, man, I don't want to do none of that stuff. And immediately was like, bung. I am hooked, man. You gave me the right amount of meth. I am in. All in on this thing. And it's
what
awesome.
Other fighters do it that we don't know of? I know of you two, but
Jason Day, right?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Well, he had The Rock posted something.
Yeah, he was choking out The Rock, but I think he does stunt work too, doesn't he?
Okay, he wasn't like an advisor on a film.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. Oh.
Mike Pyle does a bunch.
Yeah.
Tyron Woodley does a bunch. I'm trying to think who else. There's a lot of old school fighters that are doing it now. There's a bunch up in Canada that do it, like older guys my age, in their 40s, and they jump in. They weren't very good fighters, but they were fighters, and then made a jump a long time ago.
What's the percentage of you stepping in for someone and you just being a character that gets thrown out?
Oh, it's like 95% me being a character that gets beat up, as opposed to doubling somebody. Mm-hmm. I double a lot of Latino thugs. I have a lot of guys that call me like, hey, I got this thing. I already passed your name out of the stunt coordinator. I want to use you for the stunt. Okay, because they know my style, they know my game, they know that I'm going to completely sell out for them, make them look great, and that's what they want. That's why I work on SWAT so much, is I'm doubling these Latino thugs that they're going after. And so I double those guys a lot, and so I get a lot of work with the Brewers that run it. They're a stunt family that could coordinate it, and they call me.
I just want to be a Latino thug.
It's pretty cool. Like it's pretty neat. Like being like you talk to these guys, like you see them on TV or whatever. You're like, oh man, that guy's like he's a thug. Like he's a straight up G when I meet this fool. He's like, oh Mr. Trigg, it's so nice to see you again. Thank you for coming in. I really appreciate it. My wife says hello. Thank you so much for that. You're like, this is not the dude. And then all of a sudden he gets on camera, he's like, yo, motherfucker. You're like, who the hell is this dude? Like, what happened? Like, actors, like they're just like they play that game. Like, all I play is Latino thug, so I play Latino thug. That's the game.
Like Jay Hiram, he ain't gonna be on Grey's Anatomy anytime soon.
Right? No. But
he's always that guy on Marvel or something.
Yeah, but that he played some old man, some old guy the other day, and got hit up by a car, and he posted a photo of him with the mustache and the bald head. Or I don't know if he posted. I know he sent it to me directly because we sent shit to each other all the time when we're working, and. I had to do a double take. I was like, why you send me this photo? Like, who's this person? And I'm looking at it, like, I can't double him. He's too tall and skinny. He's too dark for me. Like, why you send me? I was like, oh, shit, it's Jay. I didn't know it. It was like he really embodied, like, had the old man clothing on, had the little beard on, and it was like, it was a period piece, something in the 80s, but he looks, he does it. Jay really is my go-to guy when it comes to stunts. Like, I call him a lot for information, and he is an encyclopedia when it comes to stunt work. Oh man, dude, that guy, like, yeah, you might want to say no to that, depending on the gag. Like, why? He's like, he's not safe, man. He's not safe at all. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry I'm booked. I can't work for you. I'm booked that day on something else.
I had one of those experiences where you remember somebody being, hard on the set, or their character or whatever. O-Dog, remember, from Menace to Society?
Yeah.
I actually caught him here at the Mandalay Bay, and he was all in a tuxedo, and he couldn't have been nicer.
Yeah, sweet guy.
Yeah, of course, I'd love to, And I was like, well, let's commence with the picture. Like it was all proper English and...
the only guy that really is the same as you see on everything is The Rock, where he's that nice and when he's great job, champ. I can't wait to see he's always hitting out the UFC fighters. He's really big with the stunt world. Like he really gives props to stunt guys, and he's that nice in person too. Everybody else, you kind of like you get involved in that character that they are on TV, and you meet him, you're like, oh, you're not that guy at all. And sometimes good, sometimes bad. You're like, oh yeah, I don't like that at all, like that person. I've reconnected with the Cage family, Nicholas and Weston, and they're not the same as you see on TV at all. Like, it's totally different what you see in there. And it's just funny, you forget when you haven't talked to somebody in a long time, and then but you see them on TV all the time. You see them in these little parts. You're like, oh yeah, that's right. Then you meet them and you see them again. You're like, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. Like, this is how you really are. I forgot about that. Sorry, I got to reset my head because I'm thinking that you're playing Snake Eyes, but you're not. You're playing something different. It's like this weird thing.
Let's take some calls. We've been waiting for a bit. We'll start off with Marco and Waco. What's up, Marco?
Marco from Waco. ¿Qué pasa, Aros and Frank Trigg?
¿Qué pasa?
Hey, Frank, I really enjoy the fact that you're talking about all the stuff what you're doing in Hollywood, man, and good for you. And also loving the fact that you're refereeing, too. But, we recently had Ronda Rousey announced her WWE debut, man, and a lot of MMA fighters have done that route. Ken Shamrock did it, Dan Severn, Josh Barnett, of course, Brock Lesnar. Why you never thought about going that route, dude? I mean, if the money seems to you, right? And you at one point were a guy with a big name, well, still a big name, but on our world. But, why you never thought maybe going that route?
I did. I was in TNA for 2 years. I was Kurt Angle's mini-me for 2 years, yeah.
He said the worst thing was taking the kendo stick, right?
Yeah, AJ Styles smashed me with that kendo stick. Oh, that boy, he bruised me. Like, he was not playing around. He was trying to get some licks in.
He's now the current WWE champ, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it went left. Got when TNA did that when Spike bought him and they had to do that revamp and they got rid of a lot of guys. Samoa Joe was another guy they got rid of, and Hulk Hogan they got rid of. He was on these huge contracts and they were trying to cut it back. And all these guys went over to Japan and wrestled in New Pro Japan Wrestling, whatever it is, whatever the hell it is,
Pro Wrestling,
whatever it is. And they're over there. They competed over there for a long time, and all of a sudden get brought back to the WWE, and now these guys are superstars and they're making it.
And so wasn't it Steve Blackwood? Wasn't the kendo stick his?
Originally, right? He was the first one, Steve Blackman.
Sure.
Yeah, that's right.
And where'd you get hit, over the back or where?
Yeah, across the back.
And
it stings. Yeah.
Really?
It stings, yeah.
That was worse than any bumps, any falls.
Oh yeah, because the other stuff it's coming. Like you're like, oh, I'm about to hit the ground. Okay.
So what was this, like a shoot in the locker room where you just go,
no,
let's do this, and all of a sudden, whack! You weren't expecting it, or were you expecting it?
No. See, so like, yeah, hey, I'm gonna get hit. That's the gig. That's the gag we're doing is like we're gonna go ahead and get hit you with a kendo stick. But you don't know how many times he's gonna hit you, when he's gonna hit you. You have no control over it. So you have to just keep taking the blows. You're like, this just sucks. When you're taking a bump.
On the ground on your belly.
One time I was on the ground on my belly. One time I was against the locker. One time I was halfway in the trunk of a car. I mean, just getting waxed. Like AJ was trying to prove it. He was trying to big brother me.
And you can't say what the fuck? You're on live TV, right?
Yeah. I gotta take it, sell it. You gotta sell it. Oh man, it hurt, dude. It hurt bad. I hate because you have no control over it. Oh, he's about to drop kick me. Okay, all right, here comes the drop kick. Boom! Oh, take the bump. Like it's happening.
Right.
And that kendo stick. You don't know when that's coming at you.
Can't even mumble stop, motherfucker.
No, man. You get I've seen it happen. I can understand why it happens. I see guys okay, cut. Guys get up and whack. Like, why'd you hit me so hard? And they get in a full-on fight after the cameras are off, and then turn the cameras back on again. Oh, no, this don't sell. We're filming. Now you got to watch your mouth, and you're really beating each other up. Like you're really in a fight, but you're not swearing because you're back on live TV again. I've seen it happen. I've never done that, but I've seen that happen. And I get it. After getting hit with that, okay, you did that. You're hitting me on purpose. You're not trying to sell it. You can sell hitting me without freaking whacking me that hard. He was whacking me on purpose. As I hit him, lock him, like, hey man, you ever do that again? I'm gonna wait till everyone's out of the arena, and I'm gonna.
You actually did punch somebody. It just wasn't another wrestler.
Yeah, no, he was a wrestler too.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was a cameraman or something.
No, he was a wrestler. It was all. It's all.
Yeah, so Marco, he has done it before. He went to the school and everything. So did King Mo and.
Yeah, so my buddy Moose used to play for the Atlanta Falcons. I got him hooked up with my Scott Diamore, who's my pro wrestling coach. Got him hooked up, and now Moose is he's on track to be in the WWE. They're getting ready to pick him up. He's on the minor circuits right now, but he played pro football for 5-6 years and was when that career ended, he was like, yeah, I want to be a pro wrestler. I was like, okay, you want to be a pro wrestler? Talk to Scotty. Let's see what happens. And then all of a sudden, Scotty was like, oh, my God, this guy, he really wants to be a pro wrestler. This is legit. I'm like, okay, let's see what happens. And now he's doing it. It's not for me, man. 300 days on the road. You have to do house shows all the time. You're always gone. Jill, who was your client here in Vegas before we moved? John Good is Dean Ambrose. He lives here, and so
he's one of the top guys too.
Yeah, he'd take yoga class with her. He'd come in and take her class, and I'd see him all the time. And I'm like a groupie, but I want to find the locker room. Man, I was like, hey, John, I gotta tell you, man, my kids are huge fans of yours. I'm so glad I get to see your progress. It's amazing to watch you come from Ohio and then get into this game and see what you're doing. He's like, man, I'm sure glad you said something to me, man. I'm a huge fan of yours, but I don't know how to. I'm like, you fucking Dean Ambrose. You know how to approach somebody. You know how to approach somebody. You come up there and say hi. I was like, nah, I don't like doing that. Like, I wasn't sure. So we both were in that same zone, with trying to be polite to each other. And then he would come in. His girlfriend lives in Toronto. He'd come home for 2 days to do laundry and be back on the road again. So 5 days a week he's gone. He'd be home for 2 days, and not weekends. Weekends he's working. He'd home like Tuesday, Wednesday, and then be gone again and come back Tuesday, Wednesday, be gone again and come back. It's a grueling lifestyle, man. Like, pro wrestlers, I have a lot of respect for. It's a live stunt show. Those guys are taking bumps, they're getting hurt, they're really doing stuff. You know, when they bleed, whether it's you scrape your face across the cage to get the cut, or you're using the razor blade to cut yourself to kind of get the game going, man. You got to have a lot of respect for those guys, and a lot of props to Ronda Rousey. You know, because she's about to get hurt. Like 100%, she's going to get hurt. Every pro wrestler gets hurt. That's how the game works. If she wants to do it for real, wants to be a real pro wrestler, really do it, really go out there and sell it, she's going to get hurt. And that's just what's going to happen. I give her props, man. It's a big, tough choice. And you saw what happened. How many haters jumped on her when she came out? They're like, whoa, she's following one of her dreams. Like, why are you guys yelling at somebody? Why are you shaming her for following one of her dreams? And she's going to make it happen. She will. She'll make it happen. Like, it's in her DNA. Like, she's going to make that thing happen out there. She's going to be a great star. Will she be The Rock or John Cena, you know, or Superfly Jimmy Snuka? Time will tell. We'll see what happens with her. But, yeah, you got to give them props, man. Pro wrestlers are in a tough lifestyle. Tough.
Marco?
Real quick, this weekend, man. Happy for Lyoto Machida, even though that split decision as well, very Brazilian to me. And let's all agree that Valentina Shevchenko is in a great shop at 125, dude. Because she racked that girl. I mean, I felt sorry. That 200 and plus punches against like 3 punches?
Yeah.
That Yamasaki, dude, what is wrong with that guy? He should have stopped the fight way before. But whatever. Valentina,
when did you think he should have stopped him?
She should have had to come out on the second round, period. The corner should have stopped him, you know. But like I said, Nico Montano is telling her bell goodbye. That was a short reign, man.
All right.
Peace out, guys.
See you, Marco. Dan from Oregon, what's up?
Yo, can we have a serious conversation about how much of a joke Tough 26 was and how we're legitimately putting that Nico girl in jeopardy by sending her in there? Because
against
that's
Valentina?
something we really need. Yeah, because run down the top 10 and tell me how many of those people were even in the tough house. Like 4 of them or something at this point in time.
Right, but she did beat the girl. She did beat Honchak, right? And you got to respect that because Honchak was like #1 at Invicta, even though it was 3 years ago. So it's not like that was just like one of these names we grabbed off Priscilla's record. I mean, she beat her, and I think Lauren Murphy was the other one. So Nico Montano is pretty tough now. Is she going to be a long-standing reigning champion? Possibly, possibly not. We don't know, but I wouldn't call her title run a joke.
We're in a situation though where like we are looking at a point where you want to give someone kind of a tune-up fight, and she's coming in to face the beastliest girl we've ever seen in this division. But everyone who's talking about Mario Yamasaki and this whole nonsense, like, which one of you were all freaking out because of the Kevin Lee Mike Chiesa fight when he supposedly stopped it too early? Because I thought that was a 100%.
See, I gotta step on you, man. That was a perfect stoppage, and this is the problem. The fans don't know. The fans don't know what the hell they're looking at. Like, and this is the issue that we deal with. I know George never. Right. I see, George. I never answered your question. What's one of the worst things that somebody said to me? It's all over the gamut. You know, you're an asshole. You've ruined my career. You know, you've whatever, blah blah. Like, you get the whole gamut. I don't remember one particular fighter coming at me like, hey, this great stoppage, man. Thanks for stopping it. It doesn't happen. You know, and Chiesa coming. Oh, I was just trying to defend myself by bringing my hands up, and that's how I was taught to shrug my shoulders, and you weren't getting out of it, Mike. You can sell as much as you want, but anybody that knows that fight knows what was going on. He had a back body triangle on you. He was fully extended. Your hips were fully extended, so you had no way to turn your hips. The rear naked choke was completely underneath your chin. The elbow was in the proper position. It was completely locked up. You could have sat there for 35 minutes. You're not getting out of that. It was up to Kevin to decide when and where he wanted to put you to sleep. And Mario got in and stopped it because you were caught. Like, there's no way out of that. Perfect stoppage. Mario gets blown up for that one. And that's the one everyone's using. Oh, remember that stoppage? And then this stoppage on Saturday night? Like, look at how bad he is. Well, you're taking one stoppage that everybody in the commission, we talk. All of us talk. We all get on the phone together and talk. And everybody agreed that was a great stoppage by Mario. Everybody agreed. So you got to take that one off. So now he's had one bad stoppage. If you agree, if you think that Saturday night was the one bad stoppage, now you got to worry about that's one. We all have bad stoppages. We all make mistakes. We all screw up. I screwed up last week. Had to fix it. Be like, okay, all right, this is what I did wrong. Andy Foster and I sat down, talked about it. I fixed it, and that's it. We moved on. You have to fix these problems. Mario's got one. If you think Saturday was a bad stoppage, he's got one bad stoppage done. The other one was good. The fans don't know what the hell we're talking about. This is the problem. Our fans, as loyal they are, they actually don't know what they're looking at. They actually don't know what's going on. They actually have no idea. And it's funny to listen to guys on Sunday. If there was a play where there was a passing interference that didn't get called, everybody at Dre's that I was at yesterday would have known that was passing interference, the reason why it was passing interference, the reason why the call should have been made, and they know who to yell at when it wasn't. In MMA, no one has any idea. No one really understands except for the fighters don't even know. The fighters have no idea. The coaches don't even know. The trainers don't even know.
I was going to say the fighters even argued that day.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And further to that, on the Super Bowl, that play where I think it was Ertz that caught it, got chopped at the feet, and then he extended the ball. That had to be looked at for over 3 minutes before New York, the officials on the field, and Chris Collinsworth and Al Michaels could even figure out like who was in agreement over what. There was so many things they were discussing, whether he had become a runner, whether he had controlled it all the way down, whether that would matter or not because he was a runner. And that's in the game of football. Think about the high level of officiating they have there. I feel bad for the refs when they get smashed like that.
Yeah.
It just gets worse and worse when the UFC president gets involved.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dan, you want to finish up?
Yeah, I agree with Frank 100%. When you're not hand fighting and your arms go limp, like that's when you jump in. And everything you said about this stoppage as well. But, this happens to other refs, too. Remember Weidman versus Rockhold? I felt way worse about that fight continuing and going into the next round than I felt about this one completely.
Weidman and Rockhold,
what do you guys think about international? What about International Fight Week, man? I think they are really trying to make this into the Super Bowl for the UFC. They're stacking this so hard. The UFC doesn't have that one event a year that you can't miss. We don't as of lately at least. I think they're trying to build that with the UFC. I think that's what Endeavor's doing because they're coming hard on this thing. And what do you think about 222? I think the UFC's over there in the office, and you know how if you're a corporation, you got like 900 days without an injury. Well, they got the number up there, 27 pay-per-views without having to be canceled. And now you got UFC 222 that you're staring at. What the hell are you going to do, UFC? Back to you guys. I'm out.
All right, see you, Dan.
The Weidman versus Rockhold, that was just people thought it could have been stopped earlier. About last half of the third round, you had Rockhold mounted on a Weidman, just punishing him. Remember that one? Then it goes into the next round.
Yeah.
And then you could tell Herb knew the guy. Weidman didn't have much after that because when they did stop it, it wasn't like a definitive blow kind of thing. But you could just see that he never recovered from the previous round.
Yeah. And that goes into the factors like that. There's. Holy crap, I had a conversation with McCarthy the other day, and I was like, Bisping, it was about Bisping. He's like, how was Bisping able to fight after getting beat by GSP 3 weeks later? And he was like, I was trying to find a way to stop the fight when he got hit, and he gets choked. Because when he gets hit, I can call it a KO. Because he was out. Like, he was out of the fight. You don't have to go to sleep. We're actually redoing the rules, what we consider a KO versus what we consider a TKO. He goes, I would have called it a KO if I could have stopped it on striking, which means he's
90 days.
He's got no contact. 90 days. He can't do anything. But because he gets choked out, it's really like a choke. There's no suspension. So he's able to fight 3 weeks later. So it's all about how the fight ends and where things go. And it's like I opened my eyes up. He's like, yeah, you got to look at what's going to happen, like what's going to go on with this. Not only what's going to happen with this fighter, but you also kind of got to look at what's going to happen with this fighter in the future. What are you going to do to his future right now if you let him keep getting beat up like this?
Could that affect gaming, though?
Yeah.
Because people are betting on the submission versus the TKO.
Yeah, it all can. But the fight's still the fight. Like, everything can – yeah, there's always going to be is that guy going to call it KO? Is that guy going to call it TKO? Is that guy going to call it your parlay with your, over-unders and all that stuff? Like, yeah, all that gets into play. You can't worry about any of that stuff. These are the rules. These are the regs. This is what I'm following. This is what I'm going to call it. That's just it. You let everybody else deal with the other crap. I don't care about gaming. I can't gamble anymore anyway. So as far as sports gambling, but there's no thought process of who cares about gaming. You guys don't want to care about gaming because you bet. You know, the rest of us don't care. Well, the refs don't care, and the inspectors don't care.
Let's take a break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. Stay close. We'll be right back. We'll continue discussing UFC Fight Night 125. Go back to the Super Bowl, then back to 125, then back to the Super Bowl.
Stunts.
You get the drift. Stunts. Frank Trigg in the house.
They can drink Mentos-flavored Diet Coke without their stomachs giving a single fuck. They are Gorgeous George and Goes. And this is MMA Junkie Radio.
Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. SiriusXM NFL Radio is reacting to the big win and breaking down everything you need to know about Super Bowl 52. SiriusXM NFL Radio, Channel 88, and on the SiriusXM app. That same app houses the MMA Junkie Radio Show, commercial-free, and in HD quality. Check it out. All right, we're still trying to locate Rashad Evans. We'll continue on here with our coverage of Super Bowl 52 and UFC Fight Night 125, which took place this past week. Lyoto Machida getting the win over Eric Anders and calling out Michael Bisping. You guys feeling that?
I kind of thought it made a little bit of sense.
Yeah, it does kind of make a little bit of sense. Mike's on his way out. You know, he was trying to fight in London, right? Is that what that card, and that fell through? So, yeah, kind of.
Yeah, it was going to be Rashad, and it fell through. Bisping declined it, or maybe he was in at one point, and then he was off. I don't know.
I think it fell through. Rashad wasn't picking up his phone, or what?
No, he was set to go. It was the Bisping side, apparently.
Nice goes. Nice. Yeah, very, very good work.
I don't know.
I could dig that.
They've never fought, and they both have had, numerous fights in the UFC, but they've never fought. So if they want to do it, I mean, I guess I'm in.
Dude, MMA is
but I think
what have you done for me lately?
If he really, the two fights that he had back-to-back, I know he wants to finish in London, but maybe you just wait and hope that the UFC goes back to UK somewhere. Maybe not London, but somewhere in the UK.
Once you,
and you can finish then.
Why can't he just be finished?
You could just be finished?
Yeah, why
or you
can't
could be finished in Vegas?
What does he owe us? What does he owe us? Not a fucking thing. He wants to walk away. He's going to make the Hall of Fame. Like, get out. There's no reason for you to fight anymore. The only reason for him to fight is because he wants to do it. He doesn't need to do it.
Money, and he wants to get out on a win?
He doesn't need the money. He's got so much work.
But don't you get addicted to money? Like, isn't it just one more big paycheck?
No, he's not. No, that's not the paycheck he's in it for. He's like, one more win. I want to get one more win. Just one more win. Just want to go through this one more time. When an end is coming, when you know the end is coming, everyone says, oh, I'm going to go on my own. No matter what, this is my last fight. No matter what happens. Win, lose, draw, I'm out of this thing. I'm out of this game. There's still that anxiety of, what's next? What are you going to do? I don't know. Mike's already got that thing. He's a great commentator. They put him back on the table. He'll sit there and sit on the table and keep talking. He can make a lot of money doing that. He's got a great voice, great attitude for it. Really understands the game, like from a real science standpoint. Can sell it very, very well. He doesn't need to fight. The only reason for him to fight is because he still has that burn, still has that desire. After those 2 fights, you got to worry about his kids, man.
That world came calling again. Would you be interested in it, or is it stunts all day?
Yeah, it's going to cost you $500,000.
For what?
For one fight.
No. The world of broadcasting.
He just did
I know what you mean. What I'm saying is like UFC,
about?
Fox Death, that sort of thing. If that came back, or calling fights for the UFC.
See, Jill and I have talked about this, and I don't think I would take it. No. So one of the things is you can't do both. You can't commentate and referee in the U.S. Yeah. It's a conflict of interest. So I'd have to give up my refereeing license, or I would have to not commentate. And this is not a money issue. There's no money in reffing. Like I lost. We were trying to figure out. I lost money reffing last year. Like I didn't make any money at it at all because of the travel and all that stuff that I had to pay for on my own. You don't get paid that much to do it. But there was such a bad need for reffing to be changed when I came into it, and now I see the change happening. I'm a part of that change. I'm able to help with that change. I'm being put on committees for rules and regulations. I'm on the American Boxing Commission's Rules and Regulations Committee, so we have a meeting every month for new rules and regs. We're trying to get finished. We're trying to get redone. I'm helping a little bit with the weight cutting issue in the state of California with Andy Foster. Obviously, it's all through him, but I'm giving my ideas, and he runs with some ideas, and some ideas, great, thanks for sharing, but it sucks. We're moving on, and he's not scared to do that. And I don't think that if commentating came back, it'd have to be, I told him, I called Andy directly and said, look, I got this opportunity to commentate in Japan for Ryzen over the holidays. It could be a one-off thing, but it could be continuous. Will this be a conflict of interest? He goes, as long as they don't have any licensing, they're not trying to get licensed in North America anywhere, you have no conflict of interest. But once they try to get licensed, like the old Pride days, he came over here, if they try to come over, you have to make up your mind. I'm like, 100%, I'm not going to commentate that. I'm going to keep my reffing license.
So the fight is more between reffing and broadcasting versus broadcasting and stunts? Because you couldn't do both, right? You couldn't do stunts.
Yeah, absolutely, you could do both.
You could?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, absolutely, you can do both. You can, as long as the conflicts don't, the conflicts just, you have to worry about
that was a big deal in the stunt world, is giving up jobs or whatever.
No.
Like, you can't say no.
Oh no, you can. I mean, you can just tell them you booked. You booked on another date. I get called all the time. I'm like triple and double booked. Like I can't. I've already accepted this one job. You call me a day later. I can't take it. That's on the same date. I had that with Shameless. I was booked on SEAL Team, and Shameless hit me up. I was like, hey, we want to put you on. I'm like, I can't. I'm booked on Friday.
What were you gonna do with Shameless?
Bar scene. Just one of the bar scenes. Another fight.
You gotta watch Shameless, George. I think
it's actually you.
I have.
I think this.
But maybe
this
a season.
This season's gone to crap though, right? Like this season's gone a little.
It was okay. Like I couldn't believe when it ended that it was done. I felt like we didn't do anything.
Okay, yeah, that's what a lot of people said. Maybe the writing got a little wonky.
Okay, though.
But Eddie Perez, he won for best stunts for that show. Shameless got the best stunts on that show. Like all the stuff, like what's his nuts, getting thrown out of the ambulance, jumping out of the ambulance, the girl jumping out of the ambulance 2 seasons ago. Like it was like all that crap was all done with Eddie, and he got an Emmy for it. For stunt coordinating. It's awesome. It's a great show to be on.
Let's take a break. We got to do our last break. We'll get it out of the way, and then when we come back, we'll talk to Rashad Evans. He just texted me. He's ready to go, Danny. So get him on, please. And you're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. Stay close. We'll be right back.
Time for more MMA Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Goes. Thank you.
All right, let's get right back into it. We got Rashad Evans on the line. You can follow him on Twitter at Sugar Rashad Evans. What's up, Rashad? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, guys? What's going on?
Not much, man. You're back on MMA Junkie Radio with George, Goes, and Dan. And we also have Frank Trigg co-hosting today's episode, and we're happy to have you on. Rashad, so what happened last week? I thought you and Bisping was a done deal, and all of a sudden there was no deal.
Yeah, I thought so too, man. You know, got the call, and I thought it was going to happen, but then, you know, things didn't work out on the negotiating side between the UFC and Bisping, you know, and I don't know exactly what it was about, but I guess just the talks broke down after the agreement happened.
All right, Rashad, Frank Trigg here. I got to ask you, though. Let's say the roles are reversed, and there's some negotiating going on between you and the UFC. You've already got your pay, right? You already know what your contract states. So, what kind of negotiating would you have to do if the roles were reversed? Like, what negotiating is actually going on in the back?
I think it was contract stuff. You know, I think that Bisping is ending the end of his contract, and I know he's been talking about retirement. So I'm not exactly 100% sure on what they're talking about, and I don't want to speak out of school, but I'm guessing it was somewhere along the lines of, you know, where the UFC, could use Bisping and where he ultimately wants to be, and I just don't think it was an agreement.
Oh, okay. I can see that because he's got to, we're talking about money earlier.
Yeah.
If he's retiring, he's got to recoup that money or try to save some of that money he's not getting from fighting by doing the commentating gig. But from your standpoint, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, from my standpoint, I would never, for me, it's never personal to fight anybody. So, for him, trying to get the bread, hey, get as much money as you can, because at the end of the day, this is a sport we can't do forever. So I'm never against any fighter make as much money as you can.
MMA is going the way of boxing. They talk about this Muhammad Ali Act for MMA, but I'm noticing a lot of fighters want to get out of the contract halfway through, especially if they're involved in a fight where the UFC really needs them to step in, whether it's a main event or whatever. And the fighters are starting to be a little bit more aggressive, say, all right, well, I'll need this. Like, I think Cormier and Stipe kind of went through something like that as well. Nate Diaz, of course, he's got his demands. Ally Aquinta negotiated something recently. How about you, Rashad? Do you think you're just are you old school? You're going to finish out your contract? Or are you looking to maybe do something like that and speak before every fight?
I'm just going to just ride it out and see what happens. I don't want to, have my mind preset on what I should do if there's no need for it. You know what I'm saying? But, the fighters are different now just because, we're starting to see our worth more than ever. And we're starting, something to the ring of $4 billion and hearing our worth and what the UFC sold for woke up a lot of fighters in a different way, because we didn't, we didn't get any of that. You know what I'm saying? We didn't even get nothing but an email to say we sold the company. And there's nothing against the Fertittas or, they were great the way they ran the organization, and, they're great people. It's just the price of business. You know what I'm saying? But we understand the cost and the price of business now more than ever.
Is someone at fault, whether it be the fighters collectively, the managers that represent the fighters, anybody, I don't know, that you guys didn't get the memo, that's just a saying, until the sale of, from Zuffa to WME IMG?
I mean, we definitely had moments where we should have woken up collectively as a group, but, collectively as fighters, we all come from that martial art background, that humble, that we do it for a different reason. So at the same time, we all fought for money. We all fought for something else too, and I think that something else is what tied us to not, push the money side, and not make it about the money, but it's a necessary, it's become inevitable to look at. You know what I'm saying? When you go out there and you're risking yourself, and then you realize, what the other side is getting on the other end, you start to smarten up real quick and start to realize that, you're not getting paid equal to the risk that you're taking. And that's what a lot of fighters are starting to see. But I think it's a natural process to any sport that's starting to grow legs. It happened in, boxing, it happened in football, it happened in all the major sports. You have to have these growing pains of the early generations in order to make it better for the fighters to come.
Goes, what do you have for Rashad Evans?
Rashad, on that Bisping fight, I know you guys have fought before, but looking back to that first fight, do you feel like he had changed much as a fighter? Do you feel like the second fight would play out a lot differently?
Yeah, I think that it would have played a lot different. I think first and foremost, Bisping is become a master at his style and fighting the way that he does. I don't know too many fighters who's as economic as he is when it comes to fighting, and he does everything just to the right amount and he's been very successful at it. So he's gotten better in a lot of areas that he was not at the time. So I would have definitely had to, bring it. And lately I've been fighting like crap. Let's be honest. I've been fighting to my potential, and I tried to do the weight thing. It didn't really work out for me. So there's a lot of questions on my end, is even if I'm even at the level that I was when I beat this thing. So there would have been some questions to be answered on both sides.
Rashad, we're up against the clock. Do you mind sticking around for just 5 minutes of overtime so we can continue the conversation?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, folks. So, SiriusXM audience, you're going to get additional combat sports and entertainment programming headed your way here on the 93 channel. And don't forget, Channel 88, they're recapping that Super Bowl, that epic win by the Philadelphia Eagles. You can call in. All the shows are addressing it. Philadelphia Eagles did defeat the New England Patriots 41-33. I'm pretty sure everyone that just heard that knew that, by the way, because billions of people tuned in to the big game yesterday. Here on the MMA Junkie Radio Show, we are just going to step out for about 15 seconds. We'll let our producer hit a couple buttons, and then we'll be right back with some overtime with Trigg and Rashad Evans as our guest, and, of course, Frank Trigg as our co-host. Stay close. We'll be right back.
Oh, there's blackjack and poker and the roulette wheel. A fortune won and lost on every deal. All you need is a strong heart and a nerve of steel. Viva Las Vegas! Viva Las Vegas! Viva Las Vegas with your neon flashing and the one-armed bandits crashing. All those hopes down the drain. Viva Las Vegas, turning day into nighttime, turning night into daytime. If you see it once, you'll never be the same again. I'm gonna keep on the run.
Continue goes. Thank you, Danny. Continue goes with your questions for Rashad.
Well, the first fight took place in New Jersey. We were at that fight. Next fight is going to be, or was going to be, in the UK. Was there anything that worried you about judging in the UK, primarily when it comes to Michael Bisping, a lot of decisions or split decisions, and would that have caused you to fight any differently?
I definitely was going to that fight to fight different. You know, I'm a man really in a position with nothing to lose, and I know, you know, with just my last two fights alone, you know, I can't afford to go to another decision. It's just been not going my way, and I need to fight different. You know, I need to have an urgency like London would have provided me, knowing that I couldn't go and win a decision.
Rashad, I do want to ask you about that. Did you catch Anders versus Machida?
I did catch that fight, yes.
Now, yeah. Anders is a young guy who has no problem throwing, right? And I wanted to ask him, and Trigg can weigh in maybe, or yourself. Y'all have the power. We've seen it. I mean, we've seen the power. And yet, please talk us media and some fans, educate us a little bit about the mental part where you're cornering a guy, even a guy as difficult as Machida, and that's about the time where you need to fire. You know what I mean? And then you don't, and then next thing you know, the guy you tried to trap the whole time, Machida, is firing back on you. What is that mental block that stops great fighters like yourself, a young fighter like Anders, a great fighter like Frank Trigg from that moment not throwing? Is it because you think something better is going to come? Are you talking to yourself? What happens in that one moment?
Most likely what happened was the fact that, you know, to us it looked as if like Machida was no longer a threat anymore. But I think Anders may have felt like he still had a little zing in that left hand. And I've seen it a couple times where Machida would just spring out and it kind of grazed him a little bit. And I think that kind of gave Anders a little bit more pause, and then possibly also the fact that, you know, he knows that he could have touched him, but he wanted to catch him with that perfect punch, and I think that's what also that also slowed him down from opening up and really really seizing an opportunity. And then the third thing, which I don't agree with it, and I had an immediate problem with this corner when they did it. And I don't know these guys, and I'm not trying to talk bad or bash them, but I can't stand it when a cornerman, you know, has a fighter in the third round. It's a close fight like that, and then they tell them to kind of ease off. Even if I thought my fighter was winning the fight, I wouldn't let him ease off if I knew it was each round could have been that close. You know what I'm saying? I think when he told him, you know, kind of ease off a little bit, I think it kind of gave him the the impression in his mind, all he needed to do was just enough, you know? And, you know, when it comes to myself, what happens when I find myself in those positions where I freeze up and I don't fight the way that I could is that I become a prisoner of my own experience, meaning the fact that, you know, having all the experience in the octagon sometimes doesn't always work in your favor. Sometimes it works as a negative library. You know what I'm saying? You can be in a fight and you get hit with one punch, and then it may give you a flashback. Okay, that was a time where, you know, that's how I felt right before I got knocked out by Machida. Or, you know, that's what it felt like that one time, you know, when Glover hit me. And then you automatically, even if I'm winning the fight, it automatically brings me to that moment of the fight. And then now I'm not in that fight that I'm in. Now I'm worried about another fight, or now the other fight has caused me to think. And thinking in a fight is the worst thing ever, because when you think, you're already 2 or 3 steps behind.
Mm-hmm. You know, we were talking about Bisping, and Frank brought up the point, why is he fighting? You know, he already won a world title. He seems to have a future with Fox. He's got a podcast. And I guess it made me think, I was going to ask you this, but could this all next fight, wherever it is, whether it's Bisping or anybody else, could it be your swan song? Because why would you need to keep continue fighting? Is it just money or wanting to win? And first, let me allow to remind you that you've beaten Michael Bisping, who became a world champion, Forrest Griffin and Chuck Liddell, who became a world champion. I mean, you have a KO that just can't be topped, I don't think, ever again over Chuck Liddell. And all these 3 guys are either Hall of Famers or will be a Hall of Famer. And let's continue with Tito Ortiz and Quentin Jackson, and Phil Davis. Well, I'm not sure about Phil because he wound up in Bellator, but he's a great light heavyweight. But still, what I'm talking about is whether he'll be a UFC Hall of Famer or not. But Ortiz is, Jackson will be, I imagine, when he retires. Henderson is, Chael Sonnen will be at some point. You won tough. You've had a world title. I didn't even mention that yet, but you won a UFC light heavyweight world title. So what else is there? You know what I mean? Like, would it be for the money or just that feeling of having your hand raised? Or is it even the rush from getting a vicious KO, like maybe the Chuck Liddell one? You know, we all want to I'm sorry I'm talking a long time, but I came to Vegas years ago and I won 10,000 once. And every time I came to Vegas and only won 2,000 or broke even or won 5,000, it didn't feel the same. I always wanted to get to 10,000 or even top 10,000. Is it maybe some of that with trying to duplicate what you did with Liddell?
Yeah, you know, that's what it is. It becomes like, you know, it's a bit of all those things. You know, for one, you know, I'm 38 years old, and you know, my contract's coming to an end, and I know that most likely I'm probably not going to get a contract like I have right now. So my thing is, you know what, I'm going to fight, and I'm not going to leave any money on the table. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to leave any money on the table. I'm not going to just walk away from the rest of the contract if I have a contract. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because I don't know what the next phase of my life is going to bring. And I know, but what I do know, it may not bring a UFC-sized contract. So, you know, there's that part of it too. But then there's the other part of it where you just, fighting has become so a part of me. I don't know it's hard to be like, it's hard for me to see myself or feel who I am without having fighting in it. So it's a fear. It's a bit of fear of not feeling, you know, not feeling like me, you know, and you know, it's not correct, but it's a real thing. And then another thing is the fact that, you know, I've made my name off of these moments in my career where I've done what people didn't think I could do. So there's a piece of me that hangs on to and say, you know what, maybe one more time. Maybe I can have it just one more game. You know what I'm saying? Why not me? And there's a piece of me that chase that. So it's a combination of everything. I wish it was just one simple reason, but I think it's just a mixture of all those things.
Last question. Do you plan on revisiting, like, you know, having it be you and Bisping at a later date, or is there another name out there you'd like to fight, if not Bisping?
You know, I like the sound of Bisping. It was a fight that got me excited, and that just let me know that I need a fight that's going to get me excited. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing against the past guys that I fought before, but, Dan Kelly and Sam Alvey just doesn't get the blood going for me. And nothing against those guys. Those guys that play fighters, and they both beat me. But at the same time, I just don't, when I see myself in my mind's eye, I see myself just at a different level when it comes to competition. Not saying those guys can't compete with me, because obviously they did. But when I see myself, I want to be. I see myself with the top guys. And that's the thing for me. I don't want to go into a fight. And be the desired one in the matchup. I don't want to be that guy like, okay, I need to make a name off him. You know what I'm saying? If it can be mutual, or I'm thinking that about that guy, then that's great. You know what I'm saying?
I got you, my man. All right. Well, hopefully they make it, because I'm into the matchup. I would have preferred the UK. Something about the American going on the road. I'm always rooting for the American, obviously, but Dan Henderson would not have done it again. He actually said we could share a text that he sent me, which he was just scared of the judging. But apparently you're not. So hopefully it goes down at some point in the summer. But we really appreciate the time. It's always great to catch up with you.
Man. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, see you, Rashad. That's Rashad Evans, one of the best to ever do it, former champion in the UFC. Trigg, thank you so much for co-hosting today. We had a blast. We learned a lot, especially about MMA reffing. And I love hearing about your sequence of talking to the fighters. And I guess when I sat here earlier in the morning, I thought you'd be almost on the other side as well. I know you would never call for a ref to just lose their job, but I thought you were going to maybe disagree. But you said you were in line with everything Yamasaki did.
And like I said, mind you, there's some caveats in there. Had the sound turned down, and I knew the outcome, so my decision process is a little bit different. Try to be in the heat of the moment. I dare anybody. Be in the heat of the moment. Try to make a decision. You have 1/100 of a second to make up your mind. Good luck. It's a tough spot to be in, man, and we get yelled at more.
Is it a rush, by the way? Is it a rush to have a perfect stoppage versus just an okay stoppage? Whether it's the pat on the backs, hey, you did a great job, or a text. Or
I don't know. I'm not wired that way. I'm wired like if I know that I did my job. It's like I view fights on did I mess up or not. And how much of a mess up was it really? It's like, so that's how I view. I've never had a perfect fight, so I'm always like, I got to be careful and watch what I'm doing, make sure my mechanics are correct. You'll see me walking around the arena talking to myself because I'm going over a lot of stuff in my head, what could happen, what could not happen, stuff like that. And so I'm always in that little process, that little positioning. But the rush for me is the same rush, the same feeling I got when I would walk in the cage to fight. I get the same thing when I walk up the steps to walk in the ref. It's just a different protocol. And GSP said the best. You have all these butterflies in your stomach, but you try to give them the fly to your throat in perfect formation. And that's what I do every time I ref. I try to get that. And I walked out of match and I'm like, man, I was fucking perfect, goes. I was fucking perfect. I walk out. Mike Beltran walks up to me and goes, so in the second round, about halfway through, what were you thinking? You're like, man, I don't know what I was thinking. Blah, 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 blah. This thing, that thing, that thing. Oh, I fucked up, huh? Yeah, you fucked up. Oh, yeah. Okay, all right, I got to fix that. All right, no harm, no foul. We fix it. We'll work on it. You got another one coming up in 2. Be ready to fix it. Go in and you fix it. And that's just how it works out. So, like, sometimes you walk out of thinking, oh, I was perfect. And then you're like, no, you weren't. And they'll show you. Like, they'll show you. Exactly. And they know it. Like, they sit there. We analyze each other all the time. And when one of the other guys messes up, we talk to him. Like, I get to talk to him, too. Like, there's no real hierarchy unless John McCarthy's there.
Well, now that he isn't, I hope everyone starts to slide up. And, of course, I hope he does return. But for 1 year, he's out, and hopefully you're one of those guys.
Yeah, we're all moving up, but Herb Dean's the heir apparent. Herb's going to take over that spot as much as he can. But there's like last week we had a Bellator in the Forum. Well, not last week, a couple weeks ago we had a Bellator in the Forum, and there was a UFC fight, and everyone's got to be someplace. So I'll get more work, but I'm still going to be on the bottom guy. I'm still a low guy in the totem pole.
I saw your wife Jill around the apron at LFA. What is her job with the commission?
She's a timekeeper.
Timekeeper. Okay.
Yeah. And They actually rely on her a lot. Like, she'll come. So every fight that I'm at, whether I'm working or not, our weekends are basically fights. Whether I'm working them or we're watching them or we're there, we're watching on TV or there in the arena watching them. We go to fights every weekend. Every single weekend without fail, there's a fight someplace in my life, right? So she started coming to all of them, and she's like, there's a need for timekeepers, surprisingly enough, and this goes out to anybody in Southern California. Or California as a whole, there's a need for timekeepers. They're short on timekeepers, so a lot of these guys are getting overworked, and there's multiple shows going off at one time where you don't have enough people. So Andy Foster and John McCarthy were basically like, hey, we need more timekeepers, and they just said Jill will do it without asking her, and she got into it, and she loves it, and she's really good at it. So now they bring her out, and if she's not timekeeping,
She knows what time it is?
She knows exactly what time it is every single time. And you laugh. A lot of the guys don't.
Oh, I know.
They don't. You're like,
I've heard the 10-second clapper go on with the medic.
Does she do the clap thing?
Yeah. Well, I had her. You love this, Danny. I had her a Koa wood clacker made. It's a custom-made clacker for her out of Koa wood. And it's the loudest fucking thing. Like when she clacks, like a lot of them, you're like, clack, clack. You're like, okay, I think it happened. I think it went off, and you point. And then they'll yell 10 seconds. Okay. So that I knew I was on track with hers. Just like, I mean, it is literally like she's standing right next to you. Bang, bang, bang. You're like, oh, fuck, Jesus. It's so loud. It's the most awesome thing.
It's the wood with like a door hinge, right?
Yeah.
I want to make one because for callers that just run too long, I want to.
They're actually super. You can buy them on Everlast.com. You can get them from. You just go search boxing timekeeping equipment, and it'll pop up. They have plastic ones you can get for like $9. Like they're super easy to have around.
All right, let's get on out of here. Thank you to Rashad Evans. Thank you to Frank Trigg, and thank you to our producer Danny Okers, who he was the only one I didn't ask if he was okay with OT, and apparently he was, or he'll cuss me out later. All right, we are out of here. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, go out there and be champions.